Oh, cool. All right, you made it. Any tickets? All right. All right, good evening, everyone. Oh,
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the City of Lincoln's regular meeting of the City Council. Tonight's meeting will be televised and available on cable channel 18, YouTube, and Zoom. Those wishing to address City Council on either a non-agenda or agenda item will be called upon at the appropriate time. Those who submitted a speaker card will be called first, followed by those in the audience, and finally those attending through Zoom. For those participating through Zoom that wish to provide public comment, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 if you are calling in. Once public comment is open, please wait to be unmuted by the city clerk. Once unmuted, your name will be called and you may proceed in making your public comment.
okay, thank you very much. We're calling the meeting to order, July 28th, 2026, closed session. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Andriotta,
Present.
Councilmember Rady, Councilmember Brown,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Eklund,
Here.
Mayor Pearl.
Here. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, closed sessions. We have 3 on the docket today. A, B, and C, conference with the legal counsel, existing litigation, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, and public employee performance evaluation. Okay, very good. Over here, we have 1 card, Sella Greenhouse.
All right.
And Sella, I trust that the hats are not going to intimidate you.
I actually was going to comment about your hats. They look great. And I like it was a choice because I don't look good in a cowboy hat, so I wouldn't wear one. Until you see me one, I want to be like, yeah, she's right. But you know, I think I might have my dad's from when I was a kid. Thank you for allowing public comment during closed session items. I specifically wrote down 1A as an item that I wanted to speak to the council on. In September of last year, I stood up and I voiced my opposition to where we were at with the gathering at that time. And at that time, in that time, before these 2 members were on the council, I also expressed, maybe 3 members actually, I also expressed that sit back down at the table. Like, where are we at with that? I also expressed that I'd met with the executive director and the marketing director at the gathering inn at their table. And I talked with them from a standpoint of the public person. And what I think I shared with the council at the time was I told this prominent man in our community that there's an F word that we seem to forget. And that F word is very important. And the F word is something that is really important, especially when you're such a small community. And that F word's forgiveness. And the point of asking for forgiveness and also giving forgiveness. So in my effort after last council meeting, I went to the public documents. I know that there's not going to be conversations from you all outside of your group, but I did know that I can pull up every single one of those documents and read them. Now with my experience in litigation, I can prove so much faster than I could back in September. That being said, I understand that there is an attack, if you want to say, on the social media accounts that are in the city of Lincoln. There are specifically requests from our council to pull those documents up, and there's opposition and objection to that. There is also the public documents also state that one of our council members was deposed, and we're now trying to kind of strike that. And so what I want to explain to all of you is that it's getting deep. And I said from the beginning, sit back down at the table. How do we really come to a place of agreement and stop fighting? How do we really get to a place of forgiveness to them for the blindsiding attack they did against us? And how do we also ask for forgiveness for the attacks that we have done and the things we've said? So I helped a man years ago with the gathering inn. I helped a church feed them and house them. And I do know that from the people that are served at the gathering inn, the complaints they have about the gathering inn as well. I have never used services from the gathering inn, but I do know that in our city, we do have the ability to house a respite center. And if, as I said before, if it is not going to be earmarked specific for a respite center for the rest of its time, we shouldn't have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sala.
I'll be online. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience would like to say comment? Much, okay.
No comments through Zoom.
The case, we will close public comment and we will adjourn to closed session.
Hi, I'm Zach Eaton, your captain here at Lincoln PD. Lincoln has a rich history in farming. We are authorizing
Good evening, everyone. Okay. Hope, would you start the meeting, please?
Yes, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the City of Lincoln's regular meeting of the City Council. Tonight's meeting will be televised and available on cable channel 18, YouTube, and Zoom. Those that wishing to address City Council on either a non-agenda or agenda item will be called upon at the appropriate time. Those who submitted a speaker card will be called first, followed by those in the audience, and finally those attending through Zoom. For those participating through Zoom that wish to provide public comment, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 if you are calling in. Once public comment is open, please wait to be unmuted by the city clerk. Once unmuted, your name will be called and you may proceed in making your public comment. This evening's invocation will be given by Pastor Vern Nakasani from Foothill Bible Church. Once the invocation has concluded, Mayor Pearl will call the meeting to order.
For the service that you are giving to our city and to make this a wonderful place for us to live. So let me lead us in opening prayer. Our Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much, Lord, for each one of these council members, for those who serve our city and the blessing it is to be able to live in Lincoln. We thank you, Father, for the progress and growth and for the quality of life that we enjoy. Thank you, Father, for the churches that are represented in our community, that are serving children and youth and adults and marriages and families, and for the great ministry that we have to be able to declare your word and display your love. And above all things, we thank you for the Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you, Father, that though we have sinned against you, you have loved us and sent your one and only Son into the world, who was crucified on the cross and shed his blood so that we might have remission of our sins. And as your word calls us to believe on him so that we might have eternal and everlasting life. And so, Father, I commit this meeting into your hands. Pray that you would grant wisdom and direction to all that is discussed. We give you glory and thanks for every blessing that we know comes from your good hand. And it is in the precious name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Okay, welcome everyone to the July 28th regular council meeting over here. Hope, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, thank you. Councilmember Andreotta,
Present.
Councilmember Reedy, Councilmember Brown,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Eklund,
Here.
Mayor Pearl.
Here. Thank you very much. Report from closed session, Mr. Attorney.
Mayor and council, direction was given to staff. There's no other reportable action.
Thank you very much. Pledge of Allegiance. Tony Fragy, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
Thank you, Tony. Okay. Agenda modifications. Any of my colleagues want to make any change at this point? I've got one. We're going to move city manager comments from the back to after close of public comment. And Sean, I think that you have one.
Yeah, Nita, you want to share the?
Yeah, we actually have two agenda modifications. We have two agenda modifications for items 14A and 14B. In 14A, the title will be corrected when we present the item to staff, and for 14B, one of the resolutions, we're providing a replacement exhibit. So should the council want to approve those resolutions as a group, that one resolution will need to be held separate and considered in separately.
Okay, fine, thank you. The others, we good to go? Okay, very good. Presentations. First presentation by our Firefighters Burn Institute, Fill the Boot plaque. Joe Pick, welcome, sir.
Burn Institute, retired fire captain from Metro Fire. I'm here to acknowledge not only Lincoln Fire Department, but also the community and the support that we get for this community for the fundraiser that we do. Lincoln Fire Department did a boot drive for us. This was the 15th boot drive they have done for us. And I'll get into the amount shortly. But I did want to recognize the long history that we have with Lincoln. And it goes back to the mayor's wife, who was an outreach coordinator for UC Davis, the burn unit. And we wouldn't have had a burn unit here if it wasn't for the Firefighters Burn Institute over 50 years ago, saying after a bad airplane crash into a Farrell's ice cream parlor, and we had no burn unit. We have a partnership with our fire departments up and down this state. But that connection here with Lincoln, as I was driving up here today, I thought about a couple of significant events. And one was when Gabe and Jackson got burned from an outdoor fire. Jackson is the son of Marcus Allen. And it was two high school kids with another group of high school kids that got significantly burned. And we were there with them through the process. Just within this last year, and again, it tells you how our community is small and how connected we are. The chief had a firefighter friend of his in Orange County whose daughter was involved in a very bad off-road vehicle accident and was burned severely. That connection happened very quickly, and although she is doing well down in Southern California, our connections to help them through that process, but it happens with those small relations. As I said, you guys have, Lincoln Fire Department has done this for over 15 years. If I could get Alex up here. Alex was the coordinator of the boot drive. It's no easy task to do a boot drive, getting the volunteers, getting the location and setting up to go out into the streets. This is your second or third year doing this. This year, the Lincoln Fire Department raised over $17,445 for a grand total of the last 15 years. Since 2003, a couple years were missed, $528,685. That's significant. To give you an idea of what we do with that money, all the programs we do for burn survivors is at no cost to them. We just got done with a week-long camp where we had 52 kids, 7 to 17 years old. At a week camp, we took them to Santa Cruz. We teach them life skills, help them through their process, because with a burn injury, it's not just over after you're out of the hospital. It's a long, long journey. We do family camps. We do young adult retreats. We do adult retreats. We send burn survivors across country to a World Burn Congress where burn survivors from all over the world come from. And we couldn't do that with not only the support of the fire department, but this community, because that's where the dollars come from. And as a representative, as the executive director of the Firefighter Burn Institute, I want to thank the community for your support for these burn survivors and let you know that we're here for you. If there's a burn survivor in your community, whether it happened last week or 10 years ago, we want to connect with them. We have resources, including most recently access to mental health. So that is my presentation. Alex, I want to thank you. I want to give you your plaque for this year. Yeah. And if we. And again, as a firefighter and as somebody that's got to run this organization for the last 7 years, we thank you. We thank you, your community, and it's important for me to get up here and let you guys know what your guys and gals are doing in the fire department on their own time for the betterment of not only this community, but the surrounding world. So thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Joe. I must say that, and Alex, you've got a job for life, by the way. So it's so rewarding to be out there, just to see the community stop and just toss money, $1, 5, 10, $20 bills. The booth just gets filled up, and it's just an amazing, it's just so rewarding to be part of that. And I think all of our council people have done that every year. So it's a great experience on our part. From a personal standpoint, as you said, Joe, my wife was with the Burn Center in UC Davis for close to 30 years. When we first got together, I was having a bad day at the office, and she said, you want to see what a bad day is like? Come on down to my office. And so we went down to the burn unit, and I've never had a bad day since. I mean, what they do there, what you guys do is just off the charts. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I heard that many of you from the city council, not only this year, but you guys are out there as well.
Absolutely.
What a great
Absolutely.
way to lead, and thank you, all you do.
And thank you, Joe. Okay. Presentation. Number B, let me see, community calendar presentation by Chief Innovation and Technology Officer Jennifer Brown.
Mayor, before she speaks, I just want to, this is a plug for Jen, partially. So like this joke, we'll just let the whole community in on it, that I have with Jen is the mom who you say, hey, Mom, I really want some Levi's. And she says, well, you can't have Levi's, but I'll make you jeans of my own. And so we've received this request for years to have a better calendaring system for community events and fundraisers and important things that are going on, either for the city or separately. Oh my gosh, I just saw myself on camera. And it's really difficult because our nonprofit community in particular, they're busy people with jobs outside of their service. And so sometimes it's difficult to get all of that information out to the community. It's been a frustration for them for a long time. And so I brought back a software product that I found at a conference that kind of did that. It created a calendaring system for the community, and I gave it to Jen, and she did the sort of mom jeans thing. And within a few weeks, she came back and said, you know something, we just went ahead and built it ourselves. And so she's going to present to you something that I think is really going to help anyone in the community that wants to get word out about their civic events they're doing. You're up.
Thanks. Well, now that we're thinking that these are like some, fabric jeans that I put together on my sewing machine. Yeah. So I can't take the credit for this because my admin is the one who put this together. She is really the one that pushed this thing through. She'd be up here giving this presentation if she wasn't sick today. But what we did, so we're sharing the screen, is we created an online form where people can submit a community event. It's really big here. This would be what it would look like on a desktop, but it's fully mobile friendly. So this is what it would look like on a mobile phone. So it'll work really well for people on mobile phones. What we are requesting is that people submit it 1 week prior to their event so that it can be vetted. People could be submitting things that are inappropriate for us to be putting on our community calendar. And so we just want to make sure that the things that are submitted are correct. They'll just fill out this form. It's the name of the person submitting the event. This is just information so that if they have incomplete information, we can contact them. What their title of their event is, their date, start time, end time. They can put in a description. All this will show up on the website and the calendar. They can link to their website if there's a cost, if there's required registration, so people know that they need to go register. If there's a contact person for the event, if someone has questions, and then they can upload an event flyer or an image. And all they do is submit it. It comes through into us, we review it, and we post it. So then when it's posted, what it would look like is here and living here, you have your community calendar. In your community calendar, we have all events. So right now it's showing all events for the city. If the people just want to see community type events, they would go to the community event, and this menu is really killing me. Live demos, love them. And you can list all of the events. We'll go here to August, see all of the community events that are happening in August. And this is where their event would be posted. Here's one I'm gonna do really quick. And here is a good example. Lincoln Wings and Wheels. So here you have your flyer and the location, the time, the date, the categories that it's in, as well as all the details. And if you want to see if you want to email them or their website and all the contact information. So that's your community calendar.
Thank you, Jen.
You guys have any questions?
May I, Mayor?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Lead
So,
off.
I know that this is something that a lot of people have been needing and wanting for a long time. But since I have been attending the Lincoln Serves meeting on the second Tuesday of every month, this is something that they've more and more just kept saying, we need to have. And I said, well, let me bug Sean once more to try to see what we can put together. So I want to say thank you very much, because this is something that the nonprofit community and Lincoln Serves and all of the nonprofits that meet there have been really requesting and wanting to make it easy for all this stuff to be put on and not have to make one person of that whole group responsible for getting it all on there. And so I'm so just jumping for joy to have this, and I can't wait to have
Eric.
you come help present it at the next meeting, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Right on.
Yeah, super. We've been talking about this for more than a decade that I know of. So it's really great to have this finally almost here. It's gonna be great for all the organizations in the community, without a doubt. Great job as always, Jen.
Thanks.
Jen, I'm sorry, could you say one more time, if you go to the Lincoln website homepage, is there like a link right there or in the little menu bar?
So in the living here, there's a community calendar.
Okay, perfect.
And that's
In the
where
living here.
it would
Okay,
live.
great.
Yep.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much.
So
Okay,
I'm
good.
not
Any
showing
other-
it right now.
All right, very good. Woo.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, Jen, do we have a timeline on that? Did I miss that?
For what?
When it's gonna be live?
It's live.
Live now? Okay, good. Even better. Okay, perfect. Yay. Okay,
Mr.
good.
Mayor, just to note, hi, we have someone on Zoom that would like to provide
Absolutely.
public comment on this item. So I'll go ahead and unmute Stella Greenhouse.
Hi, I just want to make a comment on the calendar. I'm really excited to see this live today. I know that when I do a lot of travels, I will go to a certain city. I was just in Michigan and I did a search of events for the weekend I was there. And I found a wonderful event, kind of like our Wings and Wheels event that was going on. And I took my local brother there and had a great time. So this will really revolutionize our ability of tourism and allow people that are just maybe in the vicinity to find events that are happening, because we have a lot of good stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Okay, good. Anyone else on Zoom?
No one else on Zoom.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Information items and disclosures. Any council members have any conflicts to report for tonight? Very good. Any informational items to share?
You want to say something about the cowboy hats?
We will. It's coming up. Very after public comment. You're right there. Okay. And just for our audience here and our audience at home, the attire is a little bit different tonight, but hold on, there's a reason for it. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, very good. So, let me see, public comment. All right, all speakers will be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by the mayor. All comments or questions should be addressed to the mayor. And in most cases, the city council is prohibited from discussing or taking action on any item not appearing on the posted agenda but may engage in brief discussion, provide direction to city staff, or schedule items for future meetings. All right, I understand we do have some comment cards today.
We do, Mr. Mayor. I have 4 speaker cards. So we will start with Stan Nader, followed by David Peterson.
Mr. Mayor and Council, my name is Stan Nader. I live in 12 Bridges area. I would like to acknowledge the good work that the police department is doing enforcing the current city policy related to e-bike riders adhering to basic traffic laws. Recently, I was turning left from Joyner Parkway onto 12 Bridges when I observed a police officer on a motorcycle writing a citation for a young person who was riding an e-bike. The expression on that young person's face was priceless. It looked like he had just got his hand caught in the cookie jar. Several days later, I was westbound on 12 Bridges approaching Joyner Parkway, and there was a flatbed tow truck strapping down 2 e-bikes on the back of his truck. There was a total of 4 e-bike riders and 1 adult, which was probably one of the rider's parents, with a police officer explaining the facts of life to the group. Last Saturday, a motorist was westbound on Interstate 80, approaching Eureka Road exit, and observed 6 e-bike riders being detained on the side of the freeway. An individual commented on Facebook saying, "Just let the kids have some fun and not be hassled by the police. Welcome to free-range parenting." Here's the issue. If these young people are not held accountable and taught to adhere to basic traffic laws, it will translate into poor driving behavior when they grow up and are driving automobiles. I will be looking forward to when the council revisits their current e-bike policy to see how effective it's been in bringing e-bike riders into compliance with riding e-bikes correctly and safely, and possibly considering stronger enforcement measures. Now to everyone's favorite topic, economic development. Major economic projects do not happen organically. Given the current financial status of the city, it's time for everyone to get off the sidelines and get into the game. Even if the city is able to convince Lincoln residents to pass an increase in the sales tax, which is estimated to generate $6.5 to $7 million a year, the laundry list of the police items the police and fire chiefs have laid out will not be enough to satisfy all the needs. Bringing more businesses to Lincoln is necessary to build the tax base to meet these demands, and it's not a zero-sum game, which requires an execution of a bold action plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan.
Good evening, Mayor, and Council, and staff. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to our comments. My name is David Peterson. I'm a Lincoln resident. I live in District 2 with my amazing wife of 11 years and my 2 small children. We moved to Lincoln about 4.5 years ago, just after I retired from a pretty lengthy career in the military. I'm a business owner, but unfortunately, I don't operate my business here in Lincoln because of regulatory restrictions. I've been attending these meetings for a couple of months now, and just like Stan said, there's an economic issue. There's a fiscal issue coming up. We need to generate more revenue. I've heard you guys discuss potential of alternate business revenue sources, and I'm here to request that you consider one of mine. You know, I own and operate 3 different commercial cannabis licenses, 1 manufacturing, 1 distribution, and a retail store. But I don't operate them here in Lincoln. I operate them safely. We integrated within the community with no real public safety issues. And it could be a potential really good source of revenue generating for the city. What I'd like you to consider would be adding this agenda to the topic, discuss possibly adding commercial cannabis to Lincoln. Lincoln has 100% retail leakage of this industry, 100%. You know, we're talking recently about, you guys were talking recently about retail leakage, you know, dealing with citizens of Lincoln and surrounding areas, tourists that come into town, buying their products, buying their, you know, whatever they're purchasing from outside the city. And because we don't offer cannabis-related products, that's 100% retail leakage. And if you do some basic economic math, just the city of Lincoln alone could be around $8 million spent on retail products that's leaving the city. So I would just appreciate the consideration of maybe adding this to the agenda for a future topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. And I know that you came to our strategic planning session about 2 months ago, and you brought this topic up in front of us over here. Personally, I think we should consider all options, not making any decisions, obviously. But I think the first step would be, my thought would be, the first step would be to kick it back to staff. There's so much that goes on for the legal situation, the regulatory, the environmental. It's a legal product. There's one place, as I understand it, in Placer County, there's only one. But there's a lot of in Sacramento, obviously, and I'm sure many other counties. But we don't know what we don't know. And so that's my opinion over here. I'd like to hear if anyone else would like to chime in. Otherwise, I would like to direct staff to take a look at it, explore the various issues, top to bottom, and it's a process, and see where it takes us.
Yeah, so the good news is that once the item makes it onto your strategic planning list, which it has, and you'll be adopting it next meeting, that becomes something that will happen. So Doug and I have discussed, we're going to look at a couple of different pilot ordinances, how they work, what are some of the concerns that may be there. This is, Doug and I actually have been through this a couple of times before in the past, and so there's a lot to discuss about what makes sense and where makes sense and if makes sense. So we'll be probably scheduling a workshop on this for the community to attend so that we can have a more informal discussion with the council about what those ordinances look like and which one you may choose to consider at some point.
Very good, thank you. Any other comments? If no other comments, do we have another card?
We do. Next speaker is Sierra Grimes, followed by Shanti Landon.
Hello, everyone. I just hope you guys can bear with me. I'm not a huge fan of public speaking, but good evening, everyone. I came in. My name is Sierra Grimes. I live right behind McBean Park, and I've lived there for many years before it became the Potters Stadium. And I want to start by saying I really appreciate the role McBean Park plays as a community space. But I'm here because my family and neighbors have been living with ongoing safety issues that have not been addressed at all, despite contact with the city. For some time, baseballs have repeatedly entered our backyard at high speeds. I want to be clear, these are line drives being hit directly into our backyard and striking my home by college athletes. They're not bouncing into my yard. They have struck my house directly. They've hit the ground inches from my dog, ricocheted off the house and hit him. I have a toddler who plays outside, so it's very scary. And it poses a very serious and significant safety risk. I have documented these incidents with videos and photos from my Ring camera, and I have previously reported them to the city. These are all the baseballs that have landed in my yard in the past month. Unfortunately, I have not received a response about what steps, if any, are being taken to reduce this safety hazard. As a psychologist, I am very scared of traumatic brain injury, and I don't want to see my toddler get one from a baseball flying from McBean Park. Tonight, I call on you guys, especially the mayor and my district representative, to implement an effective long-term solution to address the ongoing safety hazard of baseballs entering residential properties at a high velocity. And I would like a timeline for corrective action to be provided. Thank you for your time.
John, have we looked into this at all?
Yep. Ms. Grimes sent an email a couple days ago with some video. Matt's team, who kind of are responsible for McBean Park, have been in touch with the Potters, and we're trying to figure out a netting solution. And we'd like to kind of have the clarity about what exactly that'll be and what kind of improvement we think it will be. And then we'll be in touch with Ms. Grimes about the timeline for implementation. But the Potters have been generally pretty responsive when we've reached out about other issues that are related to the events that they hold there. It's not always just balls, it's noise, et cetera, sometimes. So that was Scott, one of Matt's staff, was in the middle of putting together what he thought was the solution. And so we hope to have something that we could share in about a week or so.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So we can say that the ball is in our court.
Backyard. Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pearl, council members, and City Manager Scully. My name is Shanti Landon. I serve as your representative on the Placer County Board of Supervisors, representing District 2. This year, Placer County is celebrating 175 years since its founding, and I wanted to take a moment to recognize that milestone by presenting each one of you with one of these commemorative coins. Lincoln has played an extraordinary role in Placer County's story. From the arrival of the railroad that helped connect our region to Gladding McBean becoming one of the nation's most iconic clay manufacturing businesses, Lincoln helped shape the economy and identity of our county. Our agricultural roots, hardworking families, and spirit of innovation continue to make Lincoln an important part of what makes Placer County such a special place to live. While we each serve in different roles, we all share the same goal of making this community an even better place for the people that we represent. I appreciate your service to the residents of Lincoln and look forward to continuing our partnership in the years ahead. So thank you for the work that you do for our community. And with that, I will go ahead and just pass these along, maybe to the clerk or to Nita, and she can pass these out to you whenever the time is appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shanti. Any other cards?
There are no other speaker cards. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment? If so, please approach the podium. Seeing none, I will move over to Zoom. Anyone on Zoom that would like to provide public comment? Mr. Mayor, I do have one hand raised. Again, it is Sella Greenhouse. You have been unmuted. Please provide your public comment.
Hi, thank you for this ability to comment at the end. I just want to make a cross comment to our council in regards to some of the comments that were made by the other public members. Thank you, Mr. Nader, for bringing up the e-bikes and continuing that reinforcement of how important it is to keep our children safe with the motorists that are out there. Some of you may know that at the Lincoln High School parking lot, a gentleman on a little motorcycle, sophomore high school, came across in the crosswalk, cut across, and if it wasn't for ABS, it would have been a much more problematic situation. So for myself, then the other comment about commercial cannabis, I do want to say that as a recovering addict of marijuana, the last time I smoked was March 27th of 2025. And I've used it many times throughout my life since 6th grade. I will say that it is always going to be a temptation of mine. Alcohol is not a problem, but cannabis is. But I do believe since I was in high school, I've been saying the government needs to tax this. We need to legalize it and tax it because it is a huge money driver. So I am in support, as Mr. Nader and I had a sidebar conversation in the the rotunda of our city hall, as he was discussing this a couple weeks ago. So I want to echo that, even being a person that is not going to be part of the community purchasing, it is something that as a economic development, I believe that is doable. So it's glad to hear that there's ability to find out other pilot programs. And then to the fellow public person that mentioned the Potters baseballs, I just want to thank the city for starting the conversations. I know there's a strong relationship with the Potters owner, and it should be something that should be able to come up and decide how to keep our children safe. But also, thanks for bringing those baseballs to physically show us how many have actually made it into your yard. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Zoom?
Mr. Mayor, I do not see any other hands on Zoom.
Okay, in that case, we will, and last go around, okay? Close public comment over here. Before we move on to the consent, we've moved the city manager comments to this point over here so that we can giddy up.
Yeah, so instead of just a bunch of announcements of upcoming events, I'll just explain, as we're gonna play a quick video for the community. A couple months ago, I'm gonna share a little bit about the personality of Chief Alves. Chief Alves grew up in Lincoln, has been here his whole life. He's worked for the city of Lincoln for virtually his entire life, working life at least. And many people, because Lincoln is sort of a little bit more, has been a rural and more Western kind of community, have assumed incorrectly that Matt Alves listens to country music and wears cowboy hats around. And I can tell you that he does not do any of those things. You might catch him in some cowboy boots, but that's about it. Anyway, he
Hi,
comes to my
I'm
office
Jackie, your
one
captain
day
here at Lincoln
and
PD. Lincoln has a rich history
uh-oh.
in farming and ranching.
But not yet.
And to honor that
Um,
history.
Anyway, so he comes in and he says, "Hey, you know, me and Captain Eden have kind of thought up sort of an interesting thing. I wonder what you think about it." And the chief has responsibility over the uniform and protocol, the look of his officers, and that standard in law enforcement has changed a lot over the last 30 years. Used to be that you couldn't show the facial hair was a no, and tattoos. So things have changed as police officers have done things to try to become a little bit more relatable to the communities they serve. And anyway, he sat down and he said, you know, I know you're going to think this is rich coming from me, but I think we should amend our policy because back a long, long time ago, it was allowable under policy to wear cowboy hats on duty. And given Lincoln's history with farming and ranching, which is really the one of the key drivers for why this community existed in the first place, it would be a nice way to sort of celebrate that history. We're going to play a video for you. And as you watch it, I want to point out one thing, that this wasn't just sort of a fun thing to show the community that we all don't have to take ourselves so seriously all the time. It was also that we want to use this as and I know it sounds crazy, but a recruiting tool where we can be distinct and a little bit different and show that, you know, we are willing to be a little bit outside of the box, and hopefully it will help us attract some of the talented law enforcement folks that we're going to need in the future and retain the great ones we have. And so we put together this promo video, which has already been online, so you may have seen it, but for those that haven't, it'll explain a little bit more. Thanks, Dave.
Hi, I'm Zach Eaton, your captain here at Lincoln PD. Lincoln has a rich history in farming and ranching. And to honor that history, we are authorizing cowboy hats as part of our use.
Aquí en Lincoln tenemos una historia muy rica en agricultura y en ranchería. Y para honrar esa historia, el Departamento de Policía de Lincoln ha autorizado a sus oficiales ponerse el sombrero en su uniforme.
We have always fully supported public safety, always have and always will. And if you come to Lincoln, you can wear a cowboy hat on duty.
Here in Lincoln, we're proud of our history, and that's why we're excited to support the Lincoln Police Department's newest tradition, the cowboy hat.
All right.
So there you go. And this will be the last time I wear one at City Council, so.
Don't say that. Sean, do you want to hold the rest of your comments to the end of the meeting?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, fine, very good. Okay, very good. Because we're moving down to the consent calendar. Would any of my colleagues like to pull an item off the
Yeah,
agenda?
I would 13L.
13L, okay. Else? Okay, that's good. Staff? Okay, very good. Any questions?
Yeah, just a presentation for what it is from.
Yeah, let's pass the rest and then come back. Okay, that's good. Okay, if there's nothing else, let's see, first we have to go. Anyone else want to make a comment? Madam Clerk, do we have speaker cards on this?
No, we do not.
Okay, very, very good. Anyone in the audience? All right, that's good. Okay, we've got the comments over here, coming back over here. I'm asking for a motion to pass all of the consent except for 13 Lima.
Move approval.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, that's very good. 5-0. 13 Lima. Okay, and your question?
Yeah, I wanted to have a presentation on it. I think it deserves a little.
Perfect.
Yeah, so Nita's going to give the presentation. This is actually a really cool opportunity for downtown Old Lincoln. Unfortunately, not all of it, but a large portion of it. And Nita's going to explain a little bit about what we see as the benefits of this new designation.
Yeah, and I have sitting next to me our one of our economic development staff, Daniela. She's actually been the lead on this, but wanted to bring to the council's attention this request to adopt a resolution supporting the nomination of a certain census tract within the city of Lincoln as an opportunity zone. So the opportunity zone is really an additional tool that Lincoln could employ should our nomination be approved to help encourage businesses to come into the downtown area. And attached to the agenda item is a map of the Opportunity Zone census tract. It's much bigger, I think, than we had perhaps realized when I first showed it to Sean. I think he was amazed at the area that it encompassed. But it gives businesses an opportunity to apply for certain tax credits. It also helps if they should be applying for grant funding. It can encourage public-private partnerships. It has multitude of, I'll say, intrinsic benefits. So while the city doesn't receive any direct funding or a specific benefit to this, it is a tool that we want to have in our quiver as we continue to promote economic development within the downtown area. We did submit an application for our nomination of this census tract, and so we are just waiting to hear if that will be approved for the city.
So I just attended their office hours today from the state, explaining when the public comment period is for the opportunity zone. So anyone could submit support letters between August 3rd and August 28th. They'll release the eligible and recommended list of census tracts. So if you would like to take a look at those and provide a support letter, feel free to do so. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Danielle.
So with an opportunity zone, does it have anything to do with homeowners that are seeking funding for an additional rebuild or like a re-roof or addition to the house or?
No, it's geared primarily toward businesses and
Mostly
economic
just-
development.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I had the map up in front of me over here. It looks like it's going from Lincoln Boulevard all the way to Joyner. Okay, and then, so it is, you're right, it's a very large area. Any other questions? Yeah, excellent. Okay, we'll bring that back up for vote now.
Yeah, I'll move for approval of it.
Okay, very good.
I'll second.
So it's approved and second, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay. Public hearings, 14A Windsor Cove project presented by Associate Planner Michaela Noble.
I'm just going to take 2 seconds as Michaela gets prepared to present this item and make the council aware that there is a slight modification to this item. that there are actually 5 items to be considered. The first one is the determination of that the project is exempt from California Environmental Act CEQA. The second is to consider waiving the first reading and introduce by title only an ordinance amending the Village 5 General Development Plan. And then we have the adoptive resolution to the Windsor Cove Large Lot Tentative Subdivision Map and adopt a resolution approving the Windsor Cove Small Lot Tentative Subdivision Map. I think that's all of them, yes.
So 4, not 5.
4, sorry, apologies. So yeah, the second one should just read an ordinance waiving the first reading, not a resolution. Yes. So the items to be considered are to find the project exempt from CEQA, waive the first reading and introduce by title only an ordinance approving the Village 5 General Development Plan, and then a resolution adopting the Windsor Cove Large Lot Tentative Subdivision Map, and a resolution approving the Windsor Cove Small Lot Tentative Subdivision Map. Number 2 changed, correct?
And to
It'll be
clear,
changed on here too, don't worry.
it's part of your motion. If it was the council's desire, you could just reference what Nita said. I'm just saying what she said at the end of the record.
Pursuant to NETA, not CEQA, you know? All right, I'm gonna change my greeting tonight with the cowboy hat. So howdy, y'all. Michaela Noble, Associate Planner here with the Community Development Department. The project we have before you is the Windsor Cove project. This is just a summary of the project. More detailed information was provided with the staff report. The applicant, Ron Smith, is requesting to approve an amendment to the Village 5 General Development Plan, a large lots tentative subdivision map, and a small lot tentative subdivision map. The project will require a development agreement, which is undergoing a separate negotiation process and will be heard at a later date. In June, the Planning Commission held a public hearing to review the project. Discussion ensued regarding the project's increase in open space acreage and pedestrian connectivity within the site. Ultimately, the Planning Commission recommended that the City Council approve all entitlements related to the Windsor Cove project. The proposed project consists of approximately 90 acres within the Village 5 specific plan area. The project site is located in the southeastern portion of the Village 5A area, highlighted in red on the screen here. The blue line is just the Village 5A area that has been annexed into the city. Citing that this is actually the first project within the 5A area that has been brought forward to City Council for review. So first off, the adopted Village 5 General Development Plan includes planning level details for areas A1 and A2 of the specific plan, which those are the areas in the pinkish red color on the screen. It was established that in order to implement the Village 5 specific plan, subsequent entitlements must be processed and approved by the city, including general development plan amendments or the creation of new general development plans in order to facilitate development within areas B through J of the plan. The Windsor Cove project is located in Area J, so that's why we're here. We're processing that amendment pursuant to the specific plan. In addition, we're proposing a large lot tentative subdivision map for the Windsor Cove project, which this item was included as attachment 9, Exhibit C in the staff report. The parcel is approximately 90 acres inside, like I mentioned previously, and is being proposed to be divided into large parcels based on varying land use designations to allow for phasing and financing purposes. And the meat and potatoes here. This is a small lot tentative subdivision map for Windsor Cove, which was included as attachment 10, Exhibit C in the staff report. The map features 165 residential lots across roughly 46 acres and 8 park or open space lots, accounting for approximately 33 acres. 113 of the residential lots are zoned as village low density residential, while the remaining 52 lots are zoned as village country estates. Residential lot sizes range in size from 5,200 square feet to 31,500 square feet. 2 access points are provided off of Moore Road along the southern property boundary. And the project satisfies the city's minimum lot sizes and typical setback requirements for their respective zoning designation. With this map, the applicant has provided an alternative site layout to install an on-site sewer lift station in the southwest corner of the project, which is roughly where lots 10 and 11 are here, if it's required by the city in order to facilitate the project's on-site sewer system. In summary, the proposed project provides for 52 Village Country Estates units and 113 Village Low-Density Residential units for a grand total of 165 units. The project includes approximately 33 acres of open space and park facilities. As illustrated by the table above, the acreage for each land use varies slightly from the adopted specific plan. Most notably, there is a big increase in open space acreage. It's roughly triple the amount that was allocated in the Village 5 specific plan. The reason being is Auburn Ravine runs along the northern property boundary of this site, and the floodplain encroaches way south on the property, and pursuant to the Placer County Conservation Program, it's designated as stream system, and you can't put residential structures within the stream system. So unfortunately, that land has now become, well, unfortunately, can't build on it, but fortunately, it now has become open space. We typically don't see that big of a reduction in a project for open space, so just want to clear that up. Staff analyzed the proposed entitlement requests and concluded that they are consistent with the goals, policies, and intent of the city's general plan, the adopted Village 5 specific plan and general development plan, and the city's subdivision ordinance. The Village 5 specific plan environmental impact report and partially recirculated EIR were certified by the City Council in 2017 and 2021. The Village 5 EIR analyzed the Windsor Cove project at a project level, and today's development plan is consistent with what was previously analyzed. Therefore, no additional environmental review is required under CEQA guidelines. The Windsor Cove project will still need to implement all of the applicable mitigation measures that are included within the Village 5 specific plan EIR. City staff has prepared conditions of approval for the project to ensure orderly and timely implementation. Standard and project-specific conditions have been applied, which include the applicable mitigation measures from the certified Village 5 EIR. And all conditions will be subject to verification by city departments. Therefore, the Planning Commission recommends City Council determine no additional environmental review is required pursuant to CEQA, waive first reading and introduce by title only an ordinance amending the Village 5 General Development Plan, adopt a resolution approving the large lot tentative subdivision map for the Windsor Cove project, and adopt a resolution approving the small lot tentative subdivision map for Windsor Cove. At this point in time, we have received one public comment, which was provided to you all earlier today. We do have members of the applicant team here that are available for questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. Okay. Questions from the council, colleagues at this point?
One quick thing, we covered this offline, but I thought it would be beneficial to the public. This project originally had an obligation to fund a road running north and south on the eastern side, and we are foregoing part of that obligation. I just wanted to put in the record why.
IT, do you mind bringing the screen up for me, please? Oh, wait, there we go. Thank you. Cycle through. So this is the roadway in question right here where this IOD 2 is. This is referred to as New Nelson Lane in the Village 5 specific plan. With the size of this project, there was no reason to provide an access point off of this project at this point in time. If you go further up north as currently, a portion of this roadway is not annexed within to the city. So this roadway would lead to nowhere at this point in time. We don't have control of that land. Additionally, with the ravine, there's a substantial cost for a bridge to be constructed, and it's just not necessary at this point in time. All of the roadway of the obligations of fees, things of that nature will be negotiated in the DA. So it's not like we're foregoing anyone's obligation for the roadway in general. It's just at this point in time, the developer's not being required to build it.
And then once it is built, what is their obligation?
So Nita, do you want me to defer to you on that?
We're still negotiating that in the development agreement with them, if they will construct the road, if they will pay monies for the future construction. So that's still ongoing, and we'll bring that back as part of the development agreement to council.
This point? Ben? I saw your hand go there. Okay, no? Okay. Hope?
Mr. Mayor, I have no cards on this item. I do have one hand raised through Zoom, but if you'd like to go to the audience first.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment? Please approach the podium.
Mr. Frazier?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I would like to start first, well, my name is Tony Frazier with Frazier Design Group, representing the project, and we have Ron Smith representing the ownership as well. I'd like to start by apologizing I didn't get the memo with the hat. I left it at home. Otherwise, I would have worn one. Really, we like to start by appreciating Michaela. She did a good job with presentation, makes my job easier. I don't have to go into the details. I'd also like to thank the rest of staff. I know Vin worked on it, Mel, Nita, Sean, and many other staffs that were not here tonight, and many left the city. This project been 13 years in the works, so we are happy that we are here thanks to the current staff. We're happy we're at the finish line, and we are happy we are the first project to start in Village 5. So there's a lot of happiness here, as you can see. One thing I want to mention as well, a lot of the roadways, as Nina mentioned, will be negotiating the DA, but also part of the PFE program. So we still have to do something along the frontage. We're obligated to landscape and build the wall. So that's part of the project, part of the condition of approval. The large road is a PFE project as well. So we still have to pay the fees, but the staff, since the project started, they've added that more road widening to be complete in front of the project. We used to be doing only 2 lanes. So there's some stuff got added as well. And again, the project shrunk. So we have way more open space because we started with no PCCP, but now we have PCCP. And as we discussed as well before, regarding open space, this is a place where you have more open space because you have a ravine, we have opportunities, and we're glad that we're able to work all these around. Despite the project losing lots and whatever, we're here at the end, and we're happy that we are close. We're not done, but we're close. That's really, I'd like to thank everybody. I don't want to keep going. If you have any question, any details that we didn't mention or Michaela didn't go through it, I'll be glad to answer. Otherwise, I appreciate your yes votes tonight, and hopefully we'll bring the DA soon to be considered by you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. No other speaker cards?
No speaker cards.
Anyone else in the audience?
Is there anyone else in the audience?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Tejamon, 4090 Nicholas Road, Lincoln. One question and then a couple of comments. On the east side, the property that's next to it, is that developed zoned residential? That the future for the land on the east side of this land? Well, if it is, then I hate seeing people have to get on the main road, come back to visit a house that's behind them, off another main road. I like to see a little bit of connectivity, maybe like leave one opening to the future development, which seems to be, each development seems to become its own island, and they're almost kind of like a gated community. You got a couple of exits on one side, and if you want to go visit your neighbor, or if the kids need to walk to their friends, it becomes a challenge. You're sending people on the main road again. So maybe it's too late for this one, but I would recommend for the future, that we provide a little more connectivity so you can walk around in the neighborhood. I like not having any opening on the future Fitterman Road, let those be the expressways, but the internal properties, if they could walk to each other, it would be nice instead of getting on the main road, which become highways once everything around it develops. Now it doesn't look like much, but if you go on Fitterman Road and in Lincoln, those intersections are huge. 3 lanes going this way, 3 lanes going this way. And that's, eventually happens. When we do it, it doesn't. So it would be nice to have connectivity to I'm repeating myself, but I really appreciate that maybe in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Michaela, is there anything that you wanted to add?
So I will bring up the zoning map. That's right here, actually. So yes, to the east, it is zoned as village rural residential, which for an idea, I want to say the density range for those houses, I think it's less than 1 house per acre, which those are probably your typical Catavadera houses. So it's not your typical kind of residential subdivision that we've seen processing to provide that connectivity. I will say on the east side right now, that is county land. And we have received feedback from other projects that the county residents do not want any kind of intersection at that moment in time. So it is kind of a satisfaction. Yes, eventually the goal is to get this to be annexed into the city, but we can't guarantee that'll be done with this subdivision.
Okay, last call. Anyone in the audience? Seeing none, we do have one hand raised on Zoom. Stella Greenhouse. Stella, you are unmuted. Please provide your public comment.
Hello, I return again with some comments, and I think there's a few things later in the agenda that I want to speak about. The first thing is to Nicholas Road resident, to the council members, and taking in his account is very important, thinking about the growth and the travel. And so wonderful that our key developer for Lincoln is in-house to hear that public comment and to really take into account some of those open spaces that they can connect and allow our children to walk between friends, neighborhoods, and other things. I appreciate that perspective provided to the city council. The reason I comment on this section is specifically about the CEQA. And many of you might know that I'm guided more by my conscience than the precepts of men. And so I continue to hear CEQA's exempt, CEQA's exempt. And I remember being at the meeting where a very natural wilderness type group came and gave a presentation of this frog that was in Lincoln and how it was becoming obsolete of some sort, and creating some pathway for this frog to still go through the travels within Lincoln. And our city manager did a wonderful job of fielding it, because he said that development's happening, and that does essentially know that that's going to affect the wildlife that's there. So where I really come forward with this understanding of the CEQA is I was at the planning commissioners meeting when the consultant for CEQA came in. So our staff brought in the CEQA consultant. She's been doing it for decades. I think she was doing it for our city for decades. And she educated the planning commission on that CEQA process. And where I'm coming forward about the conscience is all I keep hearing is exempt. And I don't know if it's the developer and the owners that's telling us that it's exempt. I don't know that our staff are really checking the code or knowing the code, because if just in 2025, we're educating our commissioners about CEQA, that we are double checking that they are doing that. Because now the city council is to pass, yes, it's exempt from CEQA. So I just want to caution that I have seen it, I've heard it, I've watched it, and I want to make sure that we do a diligence as a city and a staff of the city to ensure that the development now is going to be vetted as truly honestly as possible, because the presentation last week from that development that says the fence line and now the water buildup and the other things that are happening from 20 to 30 years ago is kind of where, are we just kicking the can down the road for the children or the grandchildren? So as we grow, let's grow smart, let's grow with intent, and let's grow with diligence to ensure that those that are presenting the information to us have done their job, because this is a capitalistic society and it costs money to the CEQA analysis. And I don't want it just to be passed through because it's too much money. Thank you.
Thank you, so, Mr. Manager.
Yeah, so let me just, if you indulge me for 30 seconds, let me just explain a few things about CEQA. First of all, just to be super clear, every single person that is a planner and above in the community development department, while they may not be, you know, multi-decade CEQA experts, those are very kind of unique consultants that we use. They are all super versed in CEQA and have been applying the standard of that law to projects from the very first day that they begin that career. So when you hear, there's a couple things. The first is that understand that there were 2 passes at the environmental document that exists for Village 5, and I'd encourage anyone to go read them. They're on our website. These are super lengthy documents that go into all of the required sections of the environmental law as you're reviewing these projects. Michaela mentioned that the developer, the way it works is you can do, in certain cases, a specific or project level environmental analysis, or in larger projects, CEQA conceives that you can do what's called a programmatic one, which sort of covers an entire area and addresses the impacts in mass versus on a hodgepodge or case-by-case basis. One important thing to note is that CEQA actually prevents over-analysis. It's about appropriate analysis of whatever the impact is. When you hear the term exempt, those are not things that we make up, and they are certainly not things that developers prescribe to us. Staff are the determiners of what we are going to recommend in terms of your CEQA action. And there's very specific code sections that talk about what kinds of projects are exempt and what kinds aren't. And it's more of a clear dividing line than it is a fuzzy one. So comments are well taken, but I would just say that before these projects ever make it to Planning Commission and then subsequently to City Council, there's tremendous analysis and work and internal debate about what we're proposing in terms of recommending to you the project. And honestly, the developers in many cases want that because CEQA serves as a shield to potential challenges of land use decisions as well. And you could add anything you'd like.
Yeah, just to add to it, this project is not exempt from CEQA. Just want to make that clear. There are specific exemption in CEQA if you meet certain criteria, but we're just saying that, hey, this project was actually analyzed at a deeper level with the overall Village 5 specific plan EIR. There was project level studies that were done at that time. And the project that is being proposed now is consistent with that. Probably actually better than what was proposed then, since we got an additional approximately 20 acres of open space. So that's kind of less land that you're doing physical development impacts to. So totally understand the point, but this project is not exempt. So I just want to put that on record.
Can I
Thank
just
you.
add one?
Yes.
I don't feel like to make this a train, but anything that's going before council or planning commission, the legal department has also reviewed. So not only do you get planning review, but you get legal review. And so, and I've done this for over 20 years, so there's nothing that's going to get through on your agenda that there's an exemption, not that there's one here, but that would get through that we haven't vetted and analyzed.
Thank you, all 3 of you, for the clarity, without a doubt. Any questions, any comments from my colleagues?
Just one real quick. Michaela, I'm wondering, I did read the public comment that you referenced. Could you just speak to this a little bit? Like what's the issue with this?
Yeah, so if you don't mind, I'd
No, go
like
ahead.
to address it.
Yep.
So this is an adjacent development to the project, and there are some questions about the shared responsibility of some of the items, and we are working through all of those comments and questions with the engineering and planning staff. It does require a deeper, kind of a deeper dive into a thorough response that once staff have finished their review and drafting of that response, we'll get that to legal for their evaluation, and then we'll share that with the commenter. So we are already working on responses.
Thank you.
Honor Ben? Okay, very good. No comment, no additional will be here. On the motion, are we, Mr. Attorney, are we voting on the 2 through 4? Is that what the motion is going to be?
That project can be together.
So they can be together with, that's not the one that, the exception, it is the one that. the
This is,
exception.
For the vote?
Michaela, do you want to read the the items up for approval one more time.
So just to be
Bring
clear.
it up.
yeah, While she's doing that, so you can vote it all as one with the exceptions that Michaela's gonna go over with you. That being said, only if you're going to vote the same, if each of you is gonna vote the same on each of them. So if if one of you wants to vote differently from how you would vote on the other items, then you would need to make that aware and we would need to take it separately.
So the only item that's different than what was provided on your agenda is item 2, as Councilmember Reedy referenced, is instead of adopting an ordinance, adopting a resolution for the Village 5 General Development Plan Amendment, it'll be waive first reading and introduced by title or only an ordinance amending the Village 5 General Development Plan.
We can take them all up at once as long as everyone is in agreement on all of them.
That's correct.
Exceptions that any of my colleagues want to make? Okay, in that case, accept a motion.
So I'll move item 14A, items 1 through 4, with item 2 revised as stated into the record.
Moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. 5-0. Thank you very much, Michaela. Okay, 14B, Village 7B Amendment Project, again by Michaela.
Howdy again. Okay, I'm going to preface you for this one. I might be using a lot of acronyms in this one. I am preferencing on my first go around, the first time I use it. There's some long ones in here, so just bear with me. Michaela Noble, Associate Planner with the Community Development Department. Tonight, I'll be assisted by one of our consultants from Rainey Planning and Management for the environmental review portion. The project we have before you is the Village 7B Amendments Project. The presentation is a summary and more detailed information was provided with your staff report. The applicant, Lewis Plan Communities LLC, is requesting the following items. Adoption of an addendum to the Village 7 and Village 5 Specific Plan Environmental Impact Reports, EIR, and updated mitigation monitoring plans. Approval of amendments to the Village 7 and Village 5 specific plans and general development plans, and authorization to initiate annexation proceedings with Placer Local Agency Formation Commission, better known as LAFCO. See, I'm already hitting 2 on the first slide. In June, the Planning Commission held a public hearing to review the project. Discussion ensued regarding the project's proximity to the Lincoln Regional Airport, impacts to visual and aesthetic resources in the environmental review process. Ultimately, the Planning Commission recommended that the City Council approve all entitlements related to the Village 7B project. The proposed project consists of approximately 231 acres in total. Approximately 197 of those acres are located within the Village 7 specific plan, and the remaining 34 acres are located within the Village 5 specific plan. The area south of Moore Road, right here, is the only portion of the project that's currently within city limits. That's roughly 49 acres of land. And the remaining 182 acres north of Moore Road must be annexed into the city in order to be developed pursuant to their respective specific plans. For context, the city adopted the Village 7 specific plan and EIR in June of 2010. Since then, the city has processed a vesting tentative map for phase 1 of the specific plan, as well as multiple specific plan and general development plan amendments over the years. In terms of construction, phase 1 is already under construction with new homes and parks being built. For Village 5, the city adopted the Village 5 specific plan in EIR back in 2017. The EIR was partially recirculated and readopted back in 2021. And in 2024, the city annexed approximately 2,700 acres of the Village 5 specific plan, known as Village 5A. Like I stated in my last presentation, we've got no development to date, as that was the first project that you've seen for Village 5. The proposed project requests to amend land use designations, create a new land use designation known as Village Medium High Density Residential, known as VMHDR, make minor land use modifications south of Moore Road, add text regarding previously approved agricultural overlay zone that was inadvertently not included in previous versions of the GDP, and receive authorization to submit an annexation application for approximately 182 acres. So what we've got here is the existing land use plan on the left and the proposed land use plan on the right. Starting simple, we'll go with the minor modifications south of Moore Road, which are outlined in purple. The land use modifications are slight reconfigurations of the village low-density and medium-density residential development, but they don't materially increase the amount of units or the land that's being developed. North of Moore Road, which is everything outlined in the red, the applicant is proposing to increase the overall density and unit count of the development area. Item of note, right here, kind of behind the red line, you can't see it, but it's in the specific plan. There's a linear park and open space strip along the existing residential corridor of Sorrento and 3D. There's also village low density and country estates residential. That's all along that side to kind of create a nice buffer between the existing residential. Again, previously, we already had low density residential on that side, just a bit more is being added. The VMHDR category is a new land use designation within the plan that allows for a residential density range from 6 to 18 dwelling units per acre. This designation would allow the developer more flexibility to develop an array of housing products depending on what the market state is at the time of development. So whether that's, apartments are looking like a good product or maybe a different kind of multifamily product that could be put on the market. But if that's not the case, then they could go towards a lower density pursuant to this designation. More linear park and open space corridors are provided throughout the northern portion of the plan area to provide additional connectivity and greenery opportunities for residents to access within their community. And within the Village 5 portion, which this little piece right here outlined in red and up to this black buffer. This portion of the project, there's an overall reduction in the village rural residential acreage and an increase in the low density residential acreage. The applicant is proposing to increase the density in a smaller area of land and dedicate the rest as parks and open space. This overwhelming table, I'm not going to go through tonight, but this was included in the staff report, but this provides the specific acreage and unit count changes that the applicant's proposing. In summary, the proposed amendments will increase the Village 5 area by 23 units with less land dedicated to residential development. There's an increase in approximately 11 acres of parks and open space in this area. In Village 5, there'll be an increase in a total of 503 units within the Village 7 plan area and more acreage dedicated to residential development. There's a decrease in approximately 26 acres of parks and open space. The minor modifications south of Moore Road would add 5 units and would reduce park acreage by 2 acres. In September of 2021, the City Council approved an ordinance establishing an agricultural overlay zone within Village 7. This zone supports existing and allows for the continuation of existing agricultural uses. I'm not sure what happened back then, but that text language was never actually put into the general development plan. So the language has already been approved by previous council, but we're adding it into this document. We just didn't want anyone to be thrown off if there was an increase in pages and this wasn't covered. So nothing to hide there, just putting something in that was previously approved. The amendment would also acknowledge a 162-acre conservation easement that was previously established located west of the Village 7 plan area and north of the city's wastewater treatment facility. The easement was required to mitigate wetland and species impacts associated with the development of Village 7. So I know on the land use plan, there was a bunch of kind of green lines showing these open space trail corridors, very two-dimensional, not really giving you an idea of what those look like. So the developer did produce some exhibits to kind of help provide some color to the picture. The top left image is the Auburn Ravine Trail Corridor. The ravine space would be to the left of the photo and the residential development would be to the right. The bottom right picture is the Moore Road multi-use trail and kind of gives you a feel of what that section will look like. In addition, here are these kind of little spider legs, as we've been calling them, of the trail corridors within the residential communities. We've got the bird's eye view on the right and then kind of your eye level view if you're walking through those corridors yourself. We do have a couple of conceptual park plans that we're not here to review or approve tonight. This is again just to provide some color to what the vision is for the two parks in this plan area. This park is located in the Village 5 portion along the western portion of the project. Potential ideas for the park usage could include a large turf area for soccer, dog park, tot lots, child playgrounds, swings, a multi-use trail around the park, outdoor gym circuit, basketball and sand volleyball courts, and restrooms. And this park is right in the middle of the plan area, right here. And could include potentially 2 baseball fields, some tot lots, shade structures, barbecue areas with picnics, and landscaping throughout. And again, these are concepts, not looking necessarily for review and comment, just providing some color. As previously mentioned, approximately 182 acres of the project site are not located within city limits. The area in red would be required to submit a formal application for annexation to LAFCO. Staff analyzed proposed entitlement requests and concluded that they're consistent with the goals, policies, and intent of the city's general plan, the adopted Village 5 specific plan and general development plan, and the adopted Village 7 specific plan and general development plan. City staff has prepared conditions of approval for the project to ensure orderly and timely implementation of the project. Standard and project-specific conditions have been applied. The conditions of approval also include all applicable mitigation measures from the Village 7 and Village 5 specific plan EIRs for their respective projects. And all conditions will be subject to verification of compliance by city departments. A memorandum was provided to you all outlining additional conditions of approval that have been included in the Village 7 specific plan amendment resolution, which that was included as attachment 8 in the packet. The recommended conditions are intended to improve connectivity and residential access to green space within the project area. If a motion is made tonight on this project, please include reference to the revised conditions of approval for this resolution. And now I'd like to invite Rainey up for discussion.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Nick Papani, Vice President with Rainey Planning and Management. Pleasure to be here before you tonight. We are under contract with the City of Lincoln to prepare the environmental review for the proposed project. So I'm just kind of going to give a high-level overview. And if I may, I don't have a nice cowboy hat, but I did recently purchase a pretty sharp Western-style shirt with gold embroidery. And I'm really wishing that I wore that tonight. That would have been amazing. But alas, just a suit. So one thing I want to just cover is, again, we prepared an addendum to the EIRs for Village 7, Village 5, and I want to just kind of cover that process a little bit. So essentially, whenever an applicant is proposing to make modifications to a project for which an EIR has been certified previously, what we looked to is CEQA guidelines section 15162. And that's a couple criteria there that we're looking at. And we're looking at, are the modifications that are proposed, are they going to potentially generate a new significant impact not previously identified in the certified EIR, or potentially substantially increasing the severity of a previously identified impact in the EIR? So it's not necessarily the modifications, how big or how small are they, but it's tied to, are there going to be any new significant impacts or any substantially increased significant impacts that were previously called out and identified in the certified EIR documents? So that was kind of our exercise. If none of those criteria in that CEQA guidelines section are triggered, then there's no need to prepare a subsequent EIR. You can prepare an addendum, which is really just to reflect minor changes to the EIR documents. And that's what we did here. Through the analysis, as I'll cover just kind of high level, we found that none of those conditions in CEQA guidelines 15162 would be triggered by the proposed modifications to the Village 5 and in particular Village 7 specific plan. The other important point about this exercise is that when you're doing a subsequent review like this, the baseline for the analysis is not what's out there right now. In other words, we're not looking at, okay, it's an undeveloped site, and what happens when you build the full Village 7B area. It's the approved project compared to the proposed modifications. So it's a net kind of analysis. We're looking at what are the differences and impacts if the approved uses were to be built versus the proposed uses? And so that's, for example, in traffic, we're looking at the net increase in trips that would be generated by the amendment. How does that affect the study intersections and segments out there? Not the entirety of trips that would be generated by this proposed development area. Kind of following along with that, as you can see on the screen here, one of the pieces that we had prepared under our contract with Fair and Pierce Transportation Consultants was a transportation analysis that looked at the potential increase in traffic effects associated with the net increase in trips from the proposed increased units associated with this amendment request. We also performed air quality and greenhouse gas analysis. We had an updated biological resources assessment done. As you're aware, the applicant's intent is to comply with the Placer Conservation Program, and that biological analysis reflects that updated approach to complying with biological measures identified in the conservation program. Cultural resources inventory and evaluation report, wastewater capacity analysis, and then the City of Lincoln, as you're well aware, recently adopted the Urban Water Management Plan 2025, and that did include the increased development from this proposed amendment request. And as you're aware, the finding in the Urban Water Management Plan is there is sufficient water to serve not only existing development, projected development over the next 20 years during normal single multi-dry years, but also the development associated with this amendment request. For an addendum, it is acceptable to include new mitigation measures so long as the applicant agrees to accept and implement those measures. There were just a handful of additional mitigation measures identified related to some biological species. And then also through the tribal consultation process that was conducted for this, given the amendment to the specific plan that triggers under SB 18 tribal consultation, the UAIC tribe did request some additional measures that the applicant has agreed to, and they're incorporated into the addendum document. So in conclusion, our analysis determined that the proposed modifications to the project would not result in any new significant impacts not previously identified or substantially increased impacts. And thus the addendum is the appropriate secret document is our determination. And that concludes my portion. Appreciate it. I'm gonna turn it back to.
Thank you, Nick. And just to tag on to that a little bit, the two species that we encountered for the biological resources report, this original EIR started to be written back in 2005. So since then, unfortunately, a couple new species have been kind of added to the list of endangered or on the verge of becoming endangered, which are the crotch bumblebee and the western spadefoot? Western spadefoot toad. So we added those two to the list, and they're both in the Village 7 and Village 5 EIR for consideration as new mitigation measures. So those have been added, not necessarily information that was missed, just unfortunately new species that have been added. Therefore, the Planning Commission recommends that the City Council, bear with me, there's a few, adopt a resolution for the proposed addendum and updated mitigation monitoring plans for the Village 7 EIR and the Village 5 EIR. Adopt a resolution to approve the amendments to the Village 7 specific plan with the revised conditions of approval I mentioned earlier. Adopt a resolution to approve amendments to the Village 5 specific plan. Waive first reading and introduce by title only an ordinance amending the Village 7 general development plan. Waive first reading and introduce by title only an ordinance amending the Village 5 general development plan. And adopt a resolution to authorize the submittal of an annexation application to Placer LAFCO for a portion of the adopted Village 5 specific plan area and a portion of the Village 7 specific plan area. That concludes my presentation. We had two public comments come about, which you guys all have received copies of those as well. We do have members of the applicant team here as well, if you have any comments or questions for them directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. That was, as you said at the beginning, a lot of information to give.
It's a
That
big
was-
project.
Yes, it's a huge project. And it's amazing to see how long it's been evolving. I mean, we're talking decades here without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Still another, what, 15, another 20, 30 years before that Village 5 comes to full fruition.
Absolutely. And this is just a small piece of the Village Five puzzle.
Okay, comments from my colleagues?
I have a couple questions. Okay, so regarding the two public comments that we got concerns about horses and location of the dog park and fences, what's the response to that?
Yeah, so at this stage, we're not developing anything or have any development plans for you. All of these comments have been noted and are a part of the record. The developer is also aware of them. Again, the dog park was a concept location. If it's not agreeable to the residents nearby, I totally understand with their operations, we can shift that over. Or if that's not an amenity at the time that the park is developed that we still want, then that can kind of go away. We don't have an idea necessarily of what kind of fencing we would want to do on that area. So we would essentially address that once a park plan comes in. Again, the developer is aware, they've been in contact with the residents as well. So they are definitely willing and open to protecting those existing facilities and protecting their animals as well as the future residents of this area.
Yeah, I have no doubt, because that is a concern. And then my other question, which goes along with this, is this isn't a criticism. I'm just curious, and I appreciate you pointing out that the ag overlay language was placed back in because it got left out. My question is, this ag overlay was a subject of huge conversations for a very long time, hotly debated, and then it finally got implemented. What was the process for it to be left out, then have to be put back in? Which it's not that big a deal because it's in. It's something that we're going to have, but what was the process of that being left out when that was like one of the huge aspects of Village 5 to begin with?
Yeah, I wasn't here at that time, so I can't speak. I can
Don't
just
you know
kind
you're
of
so responsible, Michaela? You know?
Unfortunately, I think I was still in college at
Yeah.
that point. My assumption or kind of my best guess of what happened is, we received copies of these amended pages from the developer, and I'm not sure at that time how involved the developer was in producing those. Myself working with the developer, they're super quick and, get stuff over to me. Maybe it just kind of got lost in the conversation and those pages were never acquired or requested by staff. But in this case, we do have the complete packet there for you. So that's
no, I
why I
appreciate that.
apologize. The packet's 1,300 pages because it has all of it.
Yeah.
So that's my best guess as to what
Okay,
happened.
I appreciate that. Because, the concern is, and I have no doubt that all of the parties involved will deal with the residents around very well because they always do. But this is the same issue earlier on in Village 5 when, and actually when the bypass was built, property owners sold some of their property or gave part of it over. And then they were still farming, still ranching, and people were encroaching on that, and that was a problem, right? And so this is one of the issues that we were concerned about with this whole development. And so as we move forward with this, I just want to make sure that we are protecting people who are already there, that they can still do their horses and all the things and whatever we need to do to make sure that the reason why we have the ag overlay and the reason why one of the reasons why this project has taken a long time. So
Absolutely.
yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions?
I agree with what you're saying, and I was really happy to hear from Lewis Development Team that they're working really well with that property, and I was really excited to hear about some kind of conceptual ideas with equestrian trails, and accommodating that property, making sure that there's maybe the best of both worlds. I was just wondering what the extra mitigation was through the tribal consultation.
Sure. So since we're doing an addendum, we have to do a tribal consultation pursuant to CEQA, it's SB 18. And we reach out to tribes in the area to see if they want to do consultation. They have 90 days to respond. The United Auburn Indian Community is the one who responded. They're very active in the community, and we have a good relationship with them. So what was requested for this project is there's a specific parcel that they would like to do tribal monitoring, which essentially for any ground clearing activities, grading, tree removal, things of that nature that would uncover dirt. They would just want to monitor the area to see if there's any, resources that may be unidentified previously that, they would like to recover and protect. And then, so that just gives them the permission to do so, and that's kind of it. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And it's not anything necessarily new. We do that for a lot of projects already. There was already existing tribal cultural resource mitigation measure in that document. This is just kind of another layer. Thank you.
Here, we'll wait for Ben. Comments, cards?
We have no comment cards, and we'll go ahead and open it up to.
1 second.
Okay.
Ben, did you have any questions on this right now? Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and open it up to those in the audience. If anyone would like to provide public comment, please come to the podium.
Thank you, Hope. Phil Rodriguez with the Lewis Group of Companies, Lewis Plan Communities. Good evening. And I want to do apologize sincerely, especially to Councilmember Brown. I did say I was going to bring my hat, and I left it in my truck, so I owe him one, owe all of you one, but you look great. Real quick, we're Lewis family, the Lewis Group have been working on this project for well over 2 decades. We broke ground in 2023. We're now in our first phase. We have our clubhouses open. We have 4 home builders actively selling now. We're pretty excited. We're looking at future phases and planning those phases. This is a big part of it, is effectively today, as we're calling it, our phase 3. Phase 2 is north of Ferrari, as we're just going to move north. Soon we'll be getting the school site ready for the school district so that they can begin construction as soon as they can. So a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. And so I wanted to answer your question about the ag overlay. That was not, Lewis was really the author of the Village 7 specific plan, general development plan. We weren't a party to that exercise that went on in 2021. So, we weren't consulted. We were probably I was sitting in the bleachers watching it all and didn't think that it needed to be added to the document. But when we processed this, and it's really to protect existing property owners within the Village 7 specific plan. We have 2 active users, agricultural users in the remainder area south of Moore Road, but we also have a family that lives in what you'll see in the land use plan as a Village Country Estates. They have an existing home there, they have existing uses, and this is to protect them, their agricultural activities and everything associated in that zone. So that's really the purpose for it. And then the genesis as to why it didn't make it into the document. We just weren't consulted. We had the electronic files of the documents. We weren't invited into that conversation long ago, but here we are. So really, I want to make sure that you all hear this. And, Lewis, especially myself, we're very fortunate to work with the city of Lincoln. We have a very good collaborative partnership with the city staff, the local community. We've been at this for well over 20 years, and we built the relationships. It's very important to the Lewis family that we do that, and we're blessed to have the fabulous city manager, new city attorney, city engineer. All of these folks work collaboratively together with us. Your assistant city manager, who wears many hats as a community development director as well, Mel, the planning manager, but more specifically, Michaela Noble. You've got an extremely talented planner that gets into the weeds with everything that we present, and she catches things that we missed, that we thought we had everything in place. Working with us on extra things we can do. Sometimes we think of everything, and there are little things we can add that don't really create great conflict in any planning or activity or land use planning. Trails are very important to us, and we like to have those in our community. They're just an amenity. So we're pleased to be here. I won't rattle on as the mayor knows I can do, but I'm here to answer questions. I do have Donna Pasquantoni with McCann Somps, who's our planning consultant here, the author of all the edits to the documents. So we're here to answer questions.
Thank you, Phil. Let me just say that it's great to see the product coming out of the ground. All of us were at the farmhouse dedication and then at the park dedication, which was really slick. And it's great product out there. So and that's just phase one. Phase two is going to come along and it's really good. So as you said, you've been a partner with the city, for decades now, and we appreciate it.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Ben.
Yeah, I was gonna say as far as this ag overlay goes, it is a tough thing to implement, especially because of the intricacies between farm and development going in around that. But it can be done. My uncle for 20, 30 years had an existing farm in the same kind of idea that we're implementing here, and it was successful. It can be done for a lot of people that have come across it says that you can't do that, but you really can. I mean, it's just play nice with your neighbors, kind of a thing. And that was all that I wanted to say.
Well, thanks. And Ben, you summed it up very nicely. I mean, because that shows the collaboration between all the parties here, which is why it's succeeding without a doubt. So very true. Okay, very good. Let's go out. Do we have any speaker
Well,
cards?
Mayor,
Oh,
can I
yes.
just,
Oh,
can
yes.
I just add to what Councilmember Brown said and what you said? Part of the reason why I asked the question and I already knew, because I read the thing, but I already knew that Phil had met with these people, because I always say Lewis does it right. They do a good job with making sure everyone's happy. But so to your point, Ben, I agree with you. Everybody play nice, but the problem is that not everybody plays nice. And so it's our job to make sure that new development does not encroach on people who've been here and who want to continue farming and ranching. Because that's what happens. Like, you start developing and building around it, and then demands are made, and then all of a sudden the people who've been here for generations, oh, now they're the problem, right? And so I appreciate Lewis's take on that they're implementing things to protect, but that's also our job. And that's one of the reasons why Village 5 was so contentious for many years, and the whole ag overlay discussion for months on end, because people say, oh, they can keep doing it, it'll be fine. But then once those houses are built and people move in and they start getting closer, then people don't want the dirt and the flies and the noise and the whatever. Well, it's our job to protect them. And so I appreciate your comment about everybody playing nice, but that's the problem. Not everybody does. I mean, it's the same thing we deal with all the time. People move here, God bless them, everyone's welcome. But hey, can you do something about the railroad track? Well, no, it's been there for 100+ years. Can you do something about the airport? Well, no, the airport's been here since World War II era, and it's only going to get bigger, not smaller, right? So it's our job to educate and to protect the people who are already here, as well as allow for new development, because we have to. So
Yeah,
my
my point was exactly.
yeah,
that.
no, I agree. And I'm agreeing with you, but I'm just saying that's our job, to protect people who are already here and their way of life. And I mean, the cowboy hat signifies Lincoln's heritage, and we are fighting to keep as much of it as we can, even though some of it is lost, right? And so that's the whole point of this. So thank you. That's my rant, and I'm done.
It wasn't a rant. It was heartfelt. Thank you, Holly. Absolutely. Okay, very good. Any speaker cards?
Have no speaker cards. We'll go ahead and take it out to the audience one more time. Anyone that would like to provide public comment? Seeing none, we'll go over to Zoom. I do have one hand raised. We'll go ahead and unmute Stella Greenhouse. Please provide your public comment.
Hi, I just want to say thank you, former Mayor Holly Andreatta, for your passion and for fighting for the existing. I know you have a lot of roots for years in the community, and so I appreciate your presence on the council and your perspective. Thank you.
Vegas, Al? Okay. Anyone else on Zoom?
No further comments through Zoom.
Good. Bring it back to my colleagues. Any final comments?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again for all the hard work that our staff has done in collaboration with Lewis, and all the great work that Lewis has done in partnering with Western Foster Unified School District, putting the school in early, just doing all the right things, being proactive, putting in the parks first. It's just, it's really refreshing to see all of these, the implementation being different with this than other projects that, have come through. We've seen earlier in our terms, and we just learn as we go and learn from the past. And I appreciate that you guys have done that. And yeah. And also really appreciate all of the trails and integrating all the green spaces. And when I was talking with Phil, I was like, can you just tell me really quickly, just looking at this map, how wide is that little skinny green strip right there? And it was, how many feet was it? 35 feet. Yeah. I was like, okay, great. That's perfect. That's what I wanted to hear for everybody. It's sometimes hard to picture scale when you're just looking at a map, but it's going to be great. I'm happy for all the people that are going to get to live in this community, and that there's also going to be a mixed density in the, I was calling it schmedium, that new medium high. It gives people an opportunity to live here, and it's not everybody can afford the large estate properties, and it's getting more expensive to live here. So I appreciate that there's an opportunity for people to live in the higher density, but still have access to all of that green space and trails and the ravine, and everybody deserves that. So thank you.
Yeah, the 40%. Okay, any, no other, John?
No, I just wanted to echo my compliments to staff, Phil and the Lewis team. I threw a few curveballs last week, asked them some questions.
Really?
And surprise,
No
surprise.
way.
And as usual, they knocked them out of the park. So I appreciate the whole team and their effort. And I think echoing Vice Mayor Eklund's comments, I think it's going to be a really incredible place to live. And I look forward to seeing it when it's built.
So before the council makes a motion, we just want to clarify the request to the council, Michaela?
Yes, so just acknowledging that the resolution for the Village 7 specific plan amendments, we are swapping out the exhibit that was provided in the staff report with the exhibit that was provided to you. Just Exhibit A, all of the other exhibits are remaining the same. So if you could include the revised exhibit in your motion, that would be greatly appreciated.
And
City attorney would just remind us that if all of the council members are going to vote the same on
Yes.
all items, that they can all be handled in one vote. Otherwise,
Would ask.
we'll need to pull one out separately.
Right. Are we all good with?
Well, so then if everyone's good, then it'd be my pleasure to make a motion to approve 14B with the amended swapped out resolution the way Michaela just described it.
Because we don't get into
'Cause-
details.
yes.
right?
I second.
Okay, good. Are we good on that? Okay, good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. 5-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michaela.
Thank you.
Excellent job this evening, as always. Okay, general business 15A. Daniela, talking about our economic development plan.
Am I doing this right? All righty. Well, I'll just go ahead and good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council and the public as well. I'm Daniela Stepik, and I'm an Economic Development Specialist on the Economic Development team here tonight. So tonight I'm bringing forward the Lincoln Economic Development Action Plan 2030, which has been recently updated. The action plan has been updated and built on the city's previous economic development work and provides a more focused, practical roadmap for advancing Lincoln's economic priorities through 2030. But before I really want to jump in, I want to give a little bit background of like what has been going on and how we got up until this point. All right, so the City Council adopted the original plan back in August 2023, and it reflects a 2024 to 2029 planning period. The plan established Lincoln's mission, vision, and 3 priority areas, which you see on the screen: business support and job creation, revitalizing downtown Lincoln, communications and outreach. And within those 3 priority areas, we had almost 70 strategies, which over a 5-year planning period can kind of be hard to implement all of those, especially when you didn't have an economic development team before. We had our economic development committee, we have staff, but now that we have two economic development staffers, we can do more. But after initial implementation, staff did identify the need for a more focused and actionable roadmap. And if you want to look at the previous iteration, you can find it on the economic development page. All right, with the addition of 2 dedicated economic development staff, that's Aaron Fry and myself, the city had the opportunity to build on that progress. To support this effort, the city hired Chapin Concepts, who are from Chico, and they helped with starting with the strategic planning process. We hired them back in March, and then they started to facilitate stakeholder interviews between March and April. The stakeholder interviews were with city staff, representatives, the Downtown Lincoln Association, the Chamber of Commerce, Placer Valley Tourism. So we had a great group of folks to talk with, and we had really good input on what are their priorities, what are the barriers to economic growth here, where do you see this vision of the city going in the next 5 or so years. So on May 13th, they presented a draft version to the Economic Development Committee. Members of the public were also invited to provide feedback, and we got to have a good, really solid discussion about how they see this the final Economic Development Action Plan. And then you'll see in the final document before you all of that feedback incorporated. So here are the goals of the Economic Development Plan, the updated version. So we wanted to improve alignment of economic development efforts, to improve it with the City Council's 2025 to 2027 strategic plan. We have a more focused implementation roadmap through 2030, and we're streamlining those almost nearly 70 strategies into 12 achievable initiatives. And this will also improve state staff, partner, and committee ability to track progress and deliver those results. So that feedback, together with everything, existing programs and related strategic plans, helps shape the action plan. So the updated plan is organized around 3 strategic pillars. The first one is the business development pillar that you see on the very left. So we have the top, there's the focus areas. The top 2 are our primary focus areas, and then the bottom 2 are our secondary focus areas. And then you'll go into the business retention, expansion, and creation, also attraction. So we have our business accelerator and major employment engagement as our top primary focus areas. And then our third category or pillar, we have our competitiveness and business climate. So kind of rewinding, I want to go back to the first pillar. So we have our commercial retail. We talked about retail leakage earlier, talked about grocery stores that we're looking at Village 5, West Lincoln Square, all of these great projects coming down the line. And I'm very excited as someone who's only been here for 9 months to be thrown into this and getting to see all the possibilities and growth and working with the community to, really push Lincoln forward. We also have our 84-acre site next to the airport, really cool, hoping to activate that. There's conversations happening that we're very excited about. And so in the second one, we have our BRE for short, our business accelerator. We have the Downtown Innovation Hub, which is a partnership with Jessa University. That's also moving along. That is going to be in the old City Hall, 2nd floor, across the hallway from our Chamber of Commerce. Really looking forward to seeing that kick off. Our major employment engagement. So a few months back in May, we had our small business walk where there was a group of volunteers who went out to small businesses all throughout the city to ask them different questions. How's it going? How can we help you? It was all really great. We're hoping to then also have conversations with our larger employers out there so we can get a good sense of how business is doing and then what else we can as the city do to support. And then in the third, we have our permitting and concierge process improvement. We have our permit assistance program here to help businesses through our hybrid workshops and also our monthly tabling events. So city staff come and they hang out and wait for the public to ask questions. But we are here to give you the information and be transparent and accessible to the public, business owners, pretty much anyone who has a question. And then identity and positioning. So telling the Lincoln story. We are this great, mighty city, have a great historical background. We wear cowboy hats now. So it's really cool to just talk about the city and how collaborative and that we're all pretty united. So It's really an interesting position that we have right now, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. But that's kind of their top primary areas, and hopefully we definitely will be working on the secondary as well, but that is just all going into that. So in addition to the action plan, Chabon Concepts, our consultants develop an implementation workbook. This will serve as a living document to track timelines, responsibilities, key tasks, and desired outcomes, helping ensure the action plan remains an active tool. So we're looking at accountability, like again, transparency, and making sure that we are meeting what we're saying that we're doing. Going forward, the action plan will be reviewed annually, and we plan to provide quarterly updates at EDC meetings, so Economic Development Committee meetings. This will allow the city to remain responsive to changing economic conditions while continuing to advance the council's priorities. So while there is no cost to adopting the action plan tonight, as projects move forward, any funding needs will likely be brought forward to City Council for consideration. And I believe the implementation workbook was included in the agenda, so you can see like the full document. This is just the first page. There's definitely more out there we can do. All right, so in closing, the Lincoln Economic Development Action Plan 2030 provides a focused and coordinated roadmap for strengthening Lincoln's economy, supporting local businesses, enhancing the city's competitiveness, and promoting long-term vitality. Staff respectfully recommends that the City Council adopt the Lincoln Economic Development Action Plan 2030 and authorize staff to work collaboratively with the EDC to advance the initiatives and strategies outlined in the plan. And I will take any questions. Pretty short and sweet.
It was short, sweet, but also very definitive.
Okay.
You know, I was on the city's Economic Development Committee back in, I think, 2012, 2013, 2014, in that range, when we didn't have any economic development team at all.
Mhm.
And we civilians put together an strategic plan and an action plan. It was okay. It helped us get started. It brought some ideas together. But this was just it's a great document. And what I
Mhm.
loved about, personally, what I loved about it is the specificity. You
Yeah.
know, it gives targets,
Mhm.
it gives metrics, and it's going to give it, it's a roadmap. And you guys
Yes.
did a great job, in my view, just a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Other comments at this point before we go out? Okay. Okay, Hope?
Mayor and Mayor and Council, I watched the video of the May 13th EDC meeting where the consultants from Chabon Concepts were reviewing with the committee the work they had done on the city's economic development strategic action plan. The discussion lasted 2 hours. The last 50 minutes I would best describe as spinning your wheels and with a good dose of analysis paralysis. In my opinion, the committee was presented with too many tasks, which included 60 possible tasks. I think it would be best to keep the process simple, not trying to take on too much at one time. The best way to approach to choosing what comes first is to score each task for their return on investment, because the city is working with limited resources. Councilmember Reedy suggested the city should be addressing infrastructure needs first, which I believe would be best. At the council's last meeting, you approved a funding agreement between the city and the county and the Bigford development for installation of a stoplight at 12 Ridges and Sierra College Boulevard. City staff indicated that the majority of the streets funds, which would be paying the city's portion of the project, were already committed to scheduled projects and would need to take monies from Fund 248, which is the Development Services Fund. This sounds a lot like a interfund loan, which the city had been called out on by the Joint Legislative Audit Committee. One of the major street projects is 3 roundabouts at a cost of $1 million a pop. I would venture to say the return on investment for these roundabouts is 0. Businesses are looking for potential projects that are shovel-ready because time is money. Developers are looking for incentives if they're going to consider coming to the city. To address these requirements, it will take intentionality, purpose, and design. The city has major headwinds, which include an imbalance in the ratio of trade sectors, local services, and residential development. 20,000 residents leave the city each day for work. 9,000 commute into the city for work because of the lack of affordable housing, a leakage of jobs, spending, and daytime activities. I will be saying this till I'm blue in the face. Because of these issues and others, this will require much work, including the council using their political capital to advance the work that needs to be done to make the city successful.
Thank you, Stan.
Mr. Mayor, I have no other speaker cards. We'll go ahead and go out to the audience. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment? If so, please approach the podium. Seeing none, I'll go over to Zoom. I do have one hand raised. Zella Greenhouse, you have been unmuted. Please provide your public comment.
Good evening. Just wanted to say a little golf clap for the Economic Development Committee, as well as the staff members, and the ability to go to a few meetings here and there and seeing the zeal and the desire to simplify and make it better. So it's good to see the interactions that the council members have in the committee and the desire. So I just wanted to golf clap for that and appreciate Mr. Nader's comment in regards to prioritizing really off of return on investment. Just appreciate the presentation of this information and the zeal and rejuvenation that this new simplification will come. I know that the first grounds of it must have been hard, as the mayor spoke about, but everything evolves and innovates and grows. And so the wind behind it right now looks good. Thank you.
Thank you, Sella.
I see no other hands raised.
Bring it back to the council. Comments?
Nope, just appreciate the work done on this and our economic development team and Daniela and Aaron and everybody. Just appreciate the great work and the economic development committee. I'm excited about where we're headed. And just for clarification and a question for Sean, in response to one of Mr. Nader's comments, I'm sorry, I just can't let it just pass. We haven't done an interfund loan in this city since I've been on the council, and we cleaned up all the ones that were done with prior councils, correct? And this is not what we're talking about here, right?
Yep, that's correct. Using Fund 248, fun fact, is not an enterprise fund. Fund 248, as Nita reminds me regularly, is a sub-count of the general fund. We account for it separately because it's on the development side and there's deposits that come and go based on work that's done in that department. But those dollars that exist in that fund, you know, most cities, planning and building in particular, are usually subsets of the general fund. They charge a fee for service, which is a little different than, say, the police department, but in many places, there is no delineation. Building permits and revenues associated drop right into the general fund. We account for them slightly differently here, but this is not a classic interfund loan that the city got into hot water where they were using restricted dollars that were for a very specific purpose, i.e. water, and moving it into transportation, for example.
With no hope of repayment.
But that's the other part. And then one other little just kind of dispel rumor. There, you know, I know this is sensitive for Lincoln. It is not illegal nor even uncommon to do interfund loans in other cities. Happens all the time. for a variety of very reasonable reasons. The point that the mayor made is the key point. It has to be reasonable. It has to be set up with an amortization schedule and appropriate charges back to the loaning fund, and then you got to pay it off. Those are some of the things that did not occur during that time, which we've now cleaned up. I won't say we won't ever suggest that you may want to do an interfund loan, but it will be very clear what you're doing and how you're paying it back.
Right, but to your point and to my point is that this council and the previous council and staff have done tremendous work to bring us to a place of complete transparency, honesty, legality, and we have no intention of going backwards.
No, as Nita reminds me all the time, and I remind her, I've worked fairly hard for my reputation, and it can be destroyed just in one action. So we tend to avoid those kinds of sketchy maneuvers.
Okay.
Yeah, just quickly, I wanted to thank staff. I was part of that 2-hour process. I thought it was really healthy to consolidate those things down. I think, like any plan, this is the first 10%, and the next 90% of the implementation is what's really going to matter and make a difference. And I'm looking forward to that part.
Yeah, well, I was part of that analysis paralysis. And, one of the nice things about these committee meetings is that it gives us a good amount of time with all of the professionals in the room and with our new economic development experts that are here to help steer the ship. It gives us a chance to revisit things that maybe weren't working so well or things that we can improve, and just sort of throw everything back at the wall and see if there's something better we can do this year, because things change so quickly, as we all see with technology and AI, and it's affecting our industries. And so I think it's really good that we have these opportunities to just be able to flush everything out and have these casual conversations where we can feel safe to explore old ideas and new ideas, and also revisit the direction that we're heading and make sure that we're doing everything that we can to attract the businesses that are flourishing and growing now, maybe in the near future, and also retain the ones that we currently have. So I am just really appreciative of all of your work, you and Aaron and our Economic Development Committee, who spends a lot of volunteer hours to come in and bring their knowledge and life experience and work experience to help us grow Lincoln in the best possible way. And there is so much exciting things coming down to Lincoln. And I feel like we're all we talk about it a lot privately and publicly, that we're excited that we get the opportunity to be here right now at this time in its history, because there is so much happening and great things. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks. My final comment is that while there were a lot of items in that report, I personally would rather have a wide range of items to consider and then to prioritize and work it. Otherwise, if you just have 2 or 3, you may be missing a whole bunch on the side. So I'd rather have a lot and pick and choose and work the process at that point. So, Ben.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I really want to express my appreciation for the two of you on that committee, because vital part of who we are as and for, again, the members that are contributing to that, and not just to have all the options, but then having the passion to attack it and jump in with both feet and get things done. So thank you.
Good. Okay, good. I'll accept a motion. We hear a second?
Second.
All right, first and approved and second over here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Carries 5-0. Yes, okay. All right, Araceli.
Araceli, I'm sorry you drew the short stick to go last.
I was gonna apologize and say I'm so sorry I'm last. You're stuck with boring engineer, so sorry. I can try to dance or do something, like trying to bring the energy.
Araceli, we've got an extra hat over there if you want.
Yes. You have our full attention, my dear.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am Araceli Casares, Engineering Manager, Capital Projects in the Engineering Department. I am here today to introduce the sewer master plan update that we have been working on the past year and a half-ish with Santa Consulting Services. This is informational only. It is a 1,200+ page document with all the appendices. So we're introducing it. You guys can go through, read it at your leisure, and I will be back to for formal adoption. So right now, this is just information, and this is just tip of the iceberg, very surface level what I'm gonna talk about today, because we can get into many details and weeds of things, but at this point, just for your information, consideration. So our last sewer master plan update was completed, or adopted, I should say, in 2018. And so the purpose of this update is to reevaluate the existing sewer system, its capacity, level of service for current conditions, and looking at projected growth scenarios. It's also going to be useful for our wastewater rate studies and our PFE analysis. PFE standing for the public facilities element. So for our public outcome goal is to deliver an updated, technically sound roadmap for maintaining acceptable levels of service for our sewer collection system and strategically extending that infrastructure to support planned development. I know we've heard that phrase a bit today, roadmaps, so the same lines here. So the sewer master plan is comprised of 7 chapters. I won't go into the details, but just high level, we start with our introduction. We go into chapter 2 where it discusses the existing collection system, our regulatory compliance, characteristics, flow monitoring. Chapter 3 will discusses the methodology of our wastewater flow projections, which is very critical for chapter 5 that goes into the hydraulic modeling. And then I skipped, but chapter 4 talks about our servicing strategy and the criteria we use for the hydraulic model inputs. So chapter 5 is the modeling, the different scenarios, looking into the future for our city, and even the build out for the sphere of influence. And then chapter 6, the condition evaluation of our assets. And chapter 7 really just brings it all together, the recommendation of improvements based on the previous 6 chapters that we have looked at. So just again, high level for our existing sewer collection system. And again, this is just for our collection system, as in the recent years, the wastewater treatment plant has been taken over by LISWA. So, and I do have an exhibit that shows also where the treatment plant is, and there's a major trunk sewer that they also own and operate. But for us, the city of Lincoln, our service area currently covers over 11,000 acres, over 24,000 connections, 233 miles of gravity and force main that range in size from 4-inch to 36-inch in diameter. Fun fact, 91% of our sewer pipe currently is VCP, vitrified clay pipe. And we currently own and operate 9 lift stations with 1 more in construction. So we'll be close to 10 lift stations that our sewer department will have to maintain. 7.4 miles is considered private and or HOA owned. So we do not have this, we do not maintain or service the 7.4 miles. So here is an exhibit of our existing collection system. Everything that's under the green shade with the black lines represent our collection system. We have the pump stations listed out here, highlighted. And then we have the LISWA owned and operated trunk sewer that dissects the city from east to west, ending in the southwest corner at the wastewater treatment and reclamation facility. Again, that is owned and operated by LISWA. Interesting, I thought this was interesting. You can see the age of our sewer here in the different color designations. So 14% of our sewers were installed prior to 1998, and that's shown in the red pipeline, which is in the core downtown area, not surprising. So where the city was first established and where we started from the heart, if you will. 66% of our sewer was installed between 1998 and 2010, so the boom. And then 20% has since been installed after 2010. So as part of the sewer master plan, flow projections are crucial and necessary in order for us to gauge how growth is going to occur and how we can plan for infrastructure in those future growth scenarios. We have continued to take a conservative approach and maintained the rate of 250 gallons per day per EDU, and that EDU is equivalent dwelling unit. And this has been a conservative approach. We use that same wastewater projection flow rate in the 2018 sewer master plan study, and it's also consistent with our design and criteria procedures manual. So that's not changed. It's been that way for many years. A reason for being conservative is that once you size your sewer system, it's built and put into the ground, it's very hard to modify and go back and upsize it. You have other existing utilities that are in that same trench area that you need to maintain separation requirements. You have your road built, you have homes or parks, what be it, you have all this built infrastructure now that for you to go in and say, well, that 15-inch really should have been a 24, and well, you're not going to have anywhere to do that. So that's why using the 250 gallon per day is conservative, and that's how we like to keep it to make sure we have that infrastructure that's adequate for our future growth. The table here just presents the different flow rates at the projected 5-year increments. So in 5 years, what the Lincoln portion is in million gallons per day, and the SMD1, which is the sewer we collect from Placer County that goes through the regional trunk sewer too and is treated at the the Lisla wastewater treatment plant site. So with those flow projections in those 5-year increments, then we use the 2050 general plan to help guide us based on the land use from there. And we combine the two together to help project the flows for the future. And the shading on this figure, we've worked with the Community Development Department to help project when different developments will come online in the 5-year increments. So starting in the next 5 years is the baby blue. What we think will happen in the next 10 years is in the yellow, and so on and so forth. So this is within our sphere of influence. And then I should have provided another figure showing beneath the shaded then is the land uses per the 2050 general plan. And so those land uses are married with the wastewater flow projections. So I apologize for that. Again, here's our flow projections in 5-year increments to show what it looks like when you put the land use and the wastewater projection rates. At build out, so beyond the 2050 range, we will have estimated based on existing land uses in the 2050 general plan, 39,578 residential units or EDUs, excuse me, and 24,811 non-residential EDUs. And this is at this point in time. Again, development changes, specific plans change, land uses may happen, but this is what with the information we have at this point in time. Sorry for the small text, but here we have a table that has our design criteria pointed out. So this is what we utilize in the hydraulic model to model what will meet the criteria or what is going to become a red flag, and we need to reconsider upsizing sewer trunks or force mains, or a pump station may be called for. And the table on the right gives you the 6 scenarios that were evaluated, again, starting with existing conditions in the 5-year, 10-year, 15, and then ultimate build out. So there's 6 scenarios that were looked at and evaluated. From that, then we go into the recommendations. So hydraulic model, the existing condition assessment has taken place, and then we're ready to get into our recommendations. And they were put into three categories, either a condition improvement, capacity improvement, and then a build-out improvement. And I'll speak a little bit about each one, give you a little bit of context. So condition improvements are those that are based on the condition assessment. Repair and rehabilitation are recommended, for example, lift station improvements, the downtown sewer rehabilitation projects, inflow and infiltration reduction projects. So there was a flow monitoring report that was also conducted a part of the sewer system master plan update, and that was twofold. One, so we can get data to calibrate the hydraulic model, and then two, also to try to identify areas where we have I&I, inflow and infiltration in our system, and those will be, those are identified and will be used for future capital improvement projects. So this table here provides just a little bit of a snapshot as to recommended improvements in the 0 to 5 year range. So the pipelines, there was 5 miles of pipeline that were also CCTV'd, and reports were completed per standards, and they were scored based on critical nature as to what's most needed within the next 5 years, what can wait in the 6 to 10 year range, and then the 11 to 20 year range. And that's what we're seeing here. And then budgetary numbers were also put to that to help give us a roadmap, if you will, for capital improvement planning. The table on the right is similar for lift stations. So condition assessments were completed for our 9 existing lift stations, and there the recommendations are listed as to what should be implemented or what they're seeing as potential issues. And they range from small O&M items, meaning that they could fall under the operation and maintenance budgetary. So they're less than $75,000 or so. And those could be warning labels or backup power system. But the larger items that would be a capital improvement project call for replacing of submersible pumps, replacement of motor control panels, what else? Oh, replacing of discharge piping. So those are all called out here as well. And those will also be used to help inform our future capital improvement projects and budgeting. Capacity improvements are just as stated. They were identified through the hydraulic modeling assessment. And so there's various projects. The table here has identified 1 through 12, and they're more discussed in detail in the sewer master plan. But it does give the framework for if you're looking to develop and you're going to be adding more flow in, say, the northeast part of town, then these are the projects that you should be looking at. So it's laid out in the sewer master plan itself. And it includes upsizing of existing sewer main, installation of new sewer pipe, and then a couple of flow diversion techniques that they would recommend through the hydraulic modeling. And then last of the improvements are the build-out improvements. And then these are proposed to serve future development within our sphere of influence. And they are, have been categorized into the different quadrants as far as northeast, northwest, southwest, and the correlating villages. So for example, I just, for illustration purposes, provided tables from Village 2 and Village 3, which those are in the northeast quadrant sphere of influence. So when we get developers interested or we're ready to build out to the northeast, we have a plan in place for what that would look like based on the land uses that we have now. It looks like Village 2 is going to require a pump station. It's going to require force mains, a 21-inch, 15-inch, 12-inch sewer trunk mains to be able to bring the sewer from that northeast quadrant down into the collection system to go all the way to the southwest corner for the treatment at the wastewater treatment plant. So similarly, southwest corner was looked at, southeast corner was looked at and northwest corner was looked at. And this is a very busy figure, but this has all of the future system improvements on one figure. It's very busy, but just to give you the context of at build out, all of this infrastructure has to be built and connected in order to service all the improvements for residential, commercial, industrial that are per our 2050 general plan. So I went really fast. And so the next steps, well, I should have included, we do need to come back for formal adoption, but once it is adopted and approved, we would incorporate the findings in the 27-29 budget and so on for the next several years, not just for the next biennium, but for 5 to 10 years to come, including the recommended studies. And then also in the public facilities element nexus study, this would be a document utilized to help guide that as well. So I'm happy to take questions, but maybe I will table it because this is information. No.
Just kidding.
I just have one question. When we went through that, it struck me, there were, one of the slides that had 24,000 non-residential EDUs. What's included? Is that commercial? I mean, it just seems like it's a lot.
Yep. Yeah, commercial, industrial, anything non-residential, which, so,
It could also include things like our parks or even open space where we provide irrigation. So it really is anything that is not a home.
I did see one thing that surprised me. When you were listing the ages of our pipes. So there's nothing older than 1998?
no, there is.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I was. You said there was a
Prior to 1998.
prior, okay, I got you.
And there's a small percentage of pipe where we don't know. We either don't have the documentation, and so we just assume it's older than 98 and was put in that category.
Well, that's why I was asking because I'm assuming that we have some pipe that is really, really old, right? Yeah,
20s.
okay. What was that?
1920s.
Yes, okay. That's what, when I was reading that, I was like, I wanted to clarify, so prior to 98, okay. Because I was like, oh, if it's 98 and lower, then I'm like, that's better than I thought, but that's not the case, right? We do have a lot of old pipe. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you for that clarification. Your hair shaking his head, yeah. That's- A lot of information, really good. I appreciate it very much.
And these are accessible online to people that want to see the projects that are coming up, right?
These,
Meaning the CIP projects that are that are scheduled for. Maybe this is way off the topic. I see the master plan and things that laid out for us, and I have residents that are always asking, why are we doing so much work down the street, and why is it gonna be blocked off from now till February? And I'm like, well, a lot of work needs to be fixed.
so the master plan itself will be available on the website, and there is a link to people to see and view it and review it right now. When it's formally adopted, we'll make it a part of on our website. But specific CIPs that are approved and budgeted are included in the budget book.
So that answered my question. I just wanted to find out if that master plan was.
Yep, it will, yep.
Yeah, well, in addition to what you were saying, so if I'm thinking of like a hypothetical situation or what isn't even hypothetical, I can imagine somebody's, walking down the street and they see that there's, an area blocked off and then there's some work being done. Or what's the best way for them to understand what the project is? Is it just a regular resident would, that we don't have like a interactive map, like we have our interactive development map, but we don't have anything like with this, do we?
Yes. We do have a CIP map and tracker report.
Which
So
does have the,
it does show the limits of certain projects, and then if you click on it, it'll give you a small description of what it entails. And the map itself will have the boundaries of it. So say there's
Okay.
the water rehab project going on in the downtown right now. Those residents that are directly affected should get notifications, and we also provided on the website, work is going on in this area, expect, there's going to be work happening. But those directly affected residents should get notifications as well. But we do have on our website, we do have a CIP map and a tracker report.
okay, so it's just another layer of the GIS. Okay, I didn't look, but that's good to know. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's all they have to do.
Yeah, and we update that once a month.
Oh,
So as
perfect.
the project managers, we're updated monthly just because some projects don't have a lot happening, a lot going on. And then others are really like weekly things are going on and happening. Some projects get done in 2 weeks. Others are a year and a half, 2 years. So it just depends on the scope, but yeah, that's there.
Awesome, great. Come on.
Okay, be afraid, very afraid. Okay, let's go out. Any cards?
We have no speaker cards, so we'll go out to the audience. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment? If so, please approach the podium. Seeing none, we'll go over to Zoom. I do have one hand raised. Stella Greenhouse, you are unmuted. Please provide your public comment.
Yes, here we go at the end, right? And then these wonderful reports and business from the council. Look forward to hearing your updates. I guess my question, City Council, is the master plan, it gives some design plans, and Araceli mentioned that there's 6 scenarios. And then obviously the different kind of categories of condition, capacity, and build out. And I guess my question to our staff is, from those 6 scenarios, do we then choose a scenario that we want to implement into our master plan? Do we choose like 2 or 3 of them? How do we kind of step forward with the recommendation from the consultant? And then I know that you mentioned the quantity of lift stations. I think you said about 9 lift stations. And I haven't gone to each one of those scenarios and dived in deeper, but the sewer system within the city is really important, and I understand your overview that as we build out, we've got to make sure that it's sustainable. So that question about the scenarios and how do we choose those scenarios? How do we weigh them as a city, deciding which one we want to move forward with as we continue to build out? Thank you.
As far as the scenarios, so this is just providing the framework for what the build out could look like. Each as developments come up, they have to do their own analysis and see what the impact will be to the respective sewer system and or water system for that matter, and the transportation or road network. So as each different development or phase comes along, there's a separate analysis that is done to really dive into the details and see, will this really work out? Is that 21-inch that was called out for the 15-year build out, is that really going to be sufficient? Or because of all the land use changes and other maybe regulatory changes, that's not going to be the case. So it's going to have to be a different size. So we don't really take what the scenarios are and implement them per se. It's just a guidance, and each individual project, like say in the 0 to 5 year range, we need to take that and finesse it and get into the details more before we even implement it. So we need to really vet it out and make sure what's there as a recommendation is going to truly work. That makes sense. And then I don't know the lift station question. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Okay, I think we've got, thank you very much, Araceli. Very detailed, thank you very much. Okay, we're not going to be taking any action on this. It's information. Any last minute comments? Otherwise, we'll just close it out. Okay, closed out. Okay, very good. City manager reports. you want to circle back, Sean?
Yeah, yeah, just a couple quick things. Next meeting, it's looking like we will, at long last, after working on this for, the mayor's been working on this a lot longer, but we've been in earnest in negotiations for about a year and a half. We will be bringing an airport professional management contract to council. It's a big deal. We'll talk about it then, but it's been a lot, and we're really excited about the next phase, provided council is interested in that. You'll also be having two interesting little things on the tech side. Jen has been working on an AI policy that we really need to get council's buy-in on. It's going to relate to sort of not only elected use, but it also, probably more importantly, relates to staff use of AI tools, and just sort of making sure that we've created some protective barriers so that we are being very, very careful about how our data is being used by these tools. Because you know, what a lot of folks don't know is when you upload into some of these publicly available systems, depending on the one you're using, you've now donated your information to them for all time. So that's coming forward. One other cool thing that Jen's been working on that once we get that policy in place, we'll do a presentation, is we're working on something that's called a chat bot for our website, where you're going to be able to log onto our website and interact with an AI tool that, you know, will help you avoid having to navigate through our thousands of pages on our website. You might say something like, hey, I want to know what the latest thing was on the Village 7 project, and it'll route you to this agenda item that you heard tonight. Or, hey, I'd like to make a complaint about my garbage wasn't picked up, and eventually we'll be able to sort of create a ticket that will go to Matt's department, and then they'll handle it. So just a easier way for some people to submit or source information, and not necessarily going to replace phones. We certainly are going to continue to answer phones and help people that way too, but some folks prefer that. So kind of interesting functionality. And then the last thing is we're getting very, very close. Jen's been working on negotiations with a couple of cell carrier providers on our water tower / now cell phone tower in Catavadera, which will provide additional service to that area, plus 12 bridges. And so that will be coming forward for council's consideration. In addition, it's unclear to us whether some of the other proposals that have been out there, one of them was Prairie Point, is still an active project, which was an important project to a lot of folks in the deeper 12 Bridges area, because it was going to help with additional cell coverage in some of those blank spots. And depending on where that lands, we're contemplating maybe recreating the same model sort of in that area, so we can kind of address the spotty cell service over there. It's really not honestly a model that I've seen many cities take, sort of, hey, we'll just build the tower and lease to ourselves. But you figure the tower's easy enough to design and construct, and we own the land anyway, it sort of makes sense to not have to go through these sort of intermediary parties like we have really for the last 20 years in Lincoln. So those are sort of the main ones, and then there's plenty of items coming up in August that are all stacking up in the Hope's agenda management system at the moment, so you'll be busy. And I think that's it for me. Thanks.
Okay, council initiated business? Holly? start off?
It's not necessarily business. I'm still not getting used to doing information at the beginning. So this is more information than business, but I just wanted to remind the council and in fact, any staff that wants to go, the Sac Valley Division of the Cal Cities meeting is August 7th in Grass Valley, and we do this every few months. I think you guys got all the information anyway. It's going to be really great. We'll have the meeting, and then if you want to, Grass Valley has a really great like downtown with the beer and wine places, just to kind of go see what their community is like. But it's always really great to meet other electeds and staff members from our region. The Sac Valley region is the biggest one of the biggest ones in California, and meet with other, council members and city managers and other like their economic development director. So it's something that if you wanted to go, Daniela, it would be really great for you to come. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure that council, if you're able to go, it's a lot of fun. I am coming to the end of, I'm the president this year of the Sac Valley. And so I think we're doing elections this meeting, And then when we go to our convention in a couple months, we always have the luncheon there, and then that will all be announced. And then I'll move to past president in January. And so, but it's really great to get involved and to meet other people. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you're able to go, it's August 7th in Grass Valley, and we can carpool if you want to. But it's a good time. Yeah.
Sydney?
Yeah, well, we sort of spoke about it a little bit in public comment, but I was going to say now that yeah, I was curious about if we were going to look into and explore the commercial cannabis licensing and have further discussions about that, what that looks like. Is that something that we might want to consider and sort of maybe do a light discussion flesh out on that. So it sounds like we're going to do that. And cell phone tower is very much appreciated. So I cannot wait. I'll let everybody know that that's coming down at our next meeting. And I want to thank Jen for being so proactive and creative again, and Sean, because this has been a thing for years. So thank you so much for sticking with it, and hopefully this will all work out and we'll have a little more coverage.
Good. I'm good, John. Ben? Very good. Committee reports. Holly?
I just have one. I was supposed to have a meeting with the GSEC team today. There's an initiative that they started called Back Beal. So it's to, partner with Beal Air Force Base. And the meeting was supposed to be today, but it got canceled this morning. Barry Broom sent out a message that a lot of information coming out from the government is changing quickly. And so they didn't want to give us, information that could be changed in a week or whatever. And so I'm looking at the email, and it looks like that they rescheduled it for August 7th, but I'll be in Grass Valley, so I got to figure out what time it is. But anyway, I just want to let you know that that's something that's really exciting. It should be good information. And so as soon as I know more about it, I'll share. But yeah, it was kind of a bummer it got canceled, but it'll be back online soon. That's all I have.
Kind of a light month, I think. A couple of different commissions and groups took July off, so I have nothing to report right now.
Okay, for the airport, Sean stole my thunder on our management, but that's fine. Hangars are coming along. We should have all the hangars and everything done. All the hangars that are up and the ramp back to normal by just probably 3 days in front of Wings and Wheels. They can't get any closer, so. Okay, we'll live through it last year. We'll live through it again this year, but nothing like coming up there. And on Pioneer Community Energy, we continue to gear up. We're going to be pretty well doubling in size over the next two major increase in how we do business. Allow us to buy increased power at a cheaper rate, which is going to be good. We just spent a long time talking about hedging strategies, which if you like, you get into real finance, it's fun. And outside of that, that's good for that. Let me see, Air Pollution Control District was dark that month, so I'm good. John? Ben? For me? Okay, perfect. All right, that's good over here. In that case, I think we're up to adjournment. Good, good.